It's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Actually, it's not my YouTube channel. Hey, it's been a long time since I've said that. My goodness, I had a couple things go wrong here, as normal. Anyway, guys, it's on the Casino Gaming TV YouTube channel. We're over here. We're back again after 3 weeks of being gone. A lot of travel for me, Labor Day weekend. I had some good time with some good people, played a little bit of craps, but here we are. This is Season 2, Episode 3 of Craps Chat. And if you want to get on the show, it's very simple, guys. All you have to do is just look in the description in the link below and or head over to crapschat.com. You'll find a little green button there. You too can join the likes of who's in the green room right now beside John and Dylan. We got Alfredo from TCS, we've got Ed from Roll to Win, Gargoyle's with us tonight, Leon from Great Craps, and we got Corey, Sith the Lord, with us right now. You two can join. All you have to do is hit that. Come on in, punch a number in there and a name that I understand, and I will let you in to the conversation tonight. We've got a lot of people that are here in chat already today. If you have a question tonight, guys, what you need to do is put a capital Q. Already queued one up already from, I believe the question was from Dustin. Dustin had a question today, so I've got it queued up. So put a capital Q. Anybody that's on the panel, or if you want to address somebody in chat, maybe with something they said with their comment, all you have to do is put their initials or something, capital letters. I'll catch it in my system, and we will go through that. So join us. Come over here and join us. And without further ado, let's get this show started.
No audio.
Yep. How's this now? Hey, Dylan, there we go.
Great.
There we go. You should be able to hear me now. How are you doing, my friend?
Yep. Fantastic. Right. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. We got a good show lined up for tonight. At least I hope we do. We've got people in the green room already. John's got back from seated. He sent me a text just before we went live. He had to slip outside and take care of some business, but he's back in his seat already. And Dylan, it's been a few weeks since we've actually been on the show. How are you doing? I talked to you earlier today. I know you were been a little bit under the weather, but hopefully you're feeling better tonight.
Yeah, I'm recovering from a major cold slash flu. I've had it for almost a week, and it's had me down for quite a while. I'm finally feeling a little better, but it's still, my head is just still congested. But Casino Gaming TV is where it's at. I'm very, very, very happy to be here, and I'm very excited for tonight's show. So I know it's going to be great, as it always is. So I'm very happy that you're here, Jeff. I'm very happy that everyone's here, and we're just, we're going to have a great show.
All right. Well, how about we just go ahead and bring everybody in, and we'll get everybody online here, and just go ahead and start the show tonight. So let's go ahead and switch the screen over to here. Make sure that John's audio is on. It is on. John, good evening. How are you?
Uh-oh.
Did we lose John's audio? John, you have no audio. I have no audio level on you. Reconnect there, and we'll go over here and take a look at the people that are in on the Zoom side and talk to them. So the first person we had come in earlier, Gargoyle, if you want to unmute yourself, we'll go ahead and say hello to you tonight. Gargoyle, of course, was a guest with Ed on the Tales of the Table a few weeks back.
Hello.
But, Gargoyle, how are you doing? I'm going to have to mute.
I'm doing well. How's everyone tonight?
Get up.
Yep, we're fine. And then for Alfredo, you came in right before Ed did. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. You know how dice are; they're up and down. Earlier today, I had some struggles, and then caught a couple of big rolls right at the end, back to back. So
Yeah, they are. So let's
That's
go ahead and
the
say
way it
hello
is.
to Ed from Roll to Win. That was an excellent episode with Cashier's Cage. If anybody didn't check that out, you got to go to Roll to Win's channel and go over there and watch the interview. Probably, maybe about an hour and 40 minutes, Ed?
Yeah, we ran about an hour and 40 minutes, and it was epic. I mean, the guy does not have a filter. He tells it like it is, and I virtually let him have his way. I did edit a few things here and there, but I really wanted to. I didn't want him to hurt John's feelings, so I didn't. I cut that part out.
Can't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, we'll get back to John here in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and say hello to Corey. Corey, Sith Lord Espy, how are you?
Good. Long week last week, and looking forward to this week coming up. So.
Yeah, I've been off YouTube for 15 days, and I had a couple of people send me messages later in the week. I guess they must have thought I crawled under a hole or something. But even John messaged me yesterday and said, "Are we doing the show tomorrow night?" I said, "Yeah, I just have not had time to put the stuff up on the YouTube channel, and here we are." Leon, great craps. How are you, my friend?
Good. It's been a busy traveling couple of weeks or more. A little COVID mixed in there, and but Vegas was in there, and I got some good stories and content for the show. So,
all right. Yeah, I saw you posted something in the Discord on CGTV, Casino Gaming TV Discord, and I read it the other day, and then I reread it again today, and I know
it's
that
crazy.
You tried to get a shirtless picture. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. Go ahead and welcome Chris. If you unmute yourself, Chris Steistigen, with that beautiful table, that nice crap studio, that craps den, whatever you want to call it, that's back there. There's his cameras mounted, TV mounted. Wow, Chris, looking nice, my friend. How are you?
Thank you, sir. Doing well. Yeah, the dungeon is coming along. I can tell you that for sure. But happy to be here. Looking forward to it's a lovely looking panel we have. Looking very, very nice. So looking forward to it.
It is a nice looking panel. John, we'll go back to you. Your audio's back. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Sorry, I still haven't left. Ian's not here yet. Ian's taking some stuff out of my garage. I cleaned my garage out to get ready for the big meetup here next weekend. So he's taking some shelving and stuff like that. But I actually walked away because my puppy just had another accident out there. So I mean, my life is cleaning pee right now. That's what my life is. And Ed, don't worry about my feelings. My feelings cannot be hurt. I don't care. It's all good. Whatever people have to say about me is fine. But yeah, I will step away when Ian gets here to help him load the racks in his car. But beyond that, things are going good. Just tired, man. I worked both days this weekend, 9 hours each day, and I'm freaking beat. Just need some of you guys in my life right now to kind of stop thinking about code.
Yeah, well, no, I noticed earlier when I texted in the group text, you said you were working, and I keep forgetting that you're doing that 7-day thing that you got going on, and I don't know how you fit everything in, let alone the prep for your 2 shows.
These last 2 weeks
weekly.
have been horrible. It just, not that it's been like bad work. It's just been so much work. I basically had to record 400 hours of video in like a week and a half. So it was like 11 hours a day just recording, and just because we're transitioning our curriculum at work to high school students, so you can't curse, you can't give references, and so I got to re-record. And me, right? I got to re-record the whole damn thing. It's hard. It's really hard work. So, but yeah, today was live classes, and I'm done. Let's talk about craps. Let's do some fun stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's been 3 weeks since we've been here. We'll be back again in 2 weeks. I think it's going to be the 23rd at the 24th, whatever the day is. Without looking at my calendar, I don't know. But we're here for the bi-weekly Craps Chat over here on Casino Gaming TV, and we've got a wonderful panel today. We'd like other people to join us. It's pinned in the chat. If you want to join us, come on, and we'll let you in, and you can communicate and talk with the panel that's here. You don't have to be a YouTuber because, although Corey doesn't have a channel, he's on a lot of the channels a lot of times. But we'd like to see new people on here. I know last time we had a couple new people in the show. We'd like to see them come back. We're almost at 50 viewers currently watching within the first couple of minutes here. And let's go ahead and start out. If you have a question, put it in a capital Q, and I'll pin it, or John will tell me that I missed it, one or the other, and we'll see what the panel has to say about it. And Hey, Jim, the professor. It's good to see you here. It's been a while since I've talked to you. So welcome to the show. I'm looking at who else is over. We got a whole slew of people that are over on the chat side. So let's go ahead and talk about some travel that we had. I traveled to the Atlantic City area 3 weeks ago. It's the same week that Corey and Alfredo were in Juliet doing their thing. John, you got your meetup coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to travel to the northwest for your meetup. But there's a lot of craps that's going on with groups of people playing, and I've heard Corey say in the past that he plays regularly with a group of people. I play regularly with a group of people. So from a travel standpoint, I took a $1,700 profit by Friday morning, and it was gone by the time I left. And for those of you that didn't know that, Ed flew into Atlantic City, and he struggled with what I saw on those days. And we're not here to do a trip report or anything, but man, Ed got to come in and see Atlantic City, and he's got to play Atlantic City. He's been said and done. Corey and Alfredo, they were in Juliet. I know Craps Master Journey Joe, he's in the chat. He was out there at the Juliet meetup. So, this whole community, John slipped out. This whole community is just incredible. The people that are here, the people that are in chat, the 50 people that are watching us. Dylan, unfortunately, you don't get to travel that much, but are you looking forward to getting back to the table sometime soon?
Yes, I am. It's just been one of those things where the situation in life, dictates that I have to stay away from the table. But I am looking forward to trying it again. I'm always at my practice table, and I do have that. So I'm very glad that I've got my practice layout so that I can do mock things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love joining the Crapsy. That's one of the great things that we can do is to go on YouTube and look for the anything that's live with Crapsy on YouTube. Then I can join that as well and get my fix that way. So, but I love the Craps community and how everything's coming together and just. You can't ask for anything better than that. And you can just do your own thing and practice different situations and have fun. That's what it's all about, is having a great time.
Yep. So let's go ahead and we'll start east and move Midwest real quick. Chris, you came in on Friday in Atlantic City. Ed was there. You got to meet Ed. I don't think you you didn't have as bad time as I did the last 2 days, because you were only there for a day. I was there 5 days, 4 days in the 5th day. But meetups are good. I mean, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, meetups are great, and like Don was saying, this community is just awesome. And really, the only reason I went to Atlantic City was really to see you guys. Obviously, gambling was involved, and it was more of a secondary thought, though. I really went with the intention of hanging out with you, Jeff, meeting Ed, but hanging out with the rest of the crew. Because as many of you know, bought a house, dog, all that kind of stuff. So the gambling funds are not fully there because there's other expenses involved these days. But I had a decent time gambling wise. I actually ended up leaving Atlantic City up money, which was good. Because when I went back to Harris to go watch our sports ticket, Jeff, the dark side was very kind to me. I can tell you that. There was like 10 straight PSOs, and I literally had a don't, and that was it. Because I was just watching people shoot, and it was just a nightmare. So I was like, well, I'm gonna exploit this a little bit and turn some profit. But it was a good time. Very happy. I got to meet Ed. I had chats with him online and all that kind of stuff, but great time in person, great time with the crew as always. Hopefully one day you guys do that Juliet meetup again, and I can come out and see some of you central U.S. folk. But it was a good time.
All right. go over to Ed, then we'll head over to Alfredo and Corey, and we'll come back to Leon and see if Gargoyles played anywhere recently. While we're waiting for some questions to come in, guys, got a couple questions queued up. If you'd like to add to the questions, capital Q. We got a great panel tonight. I think we've got just some really good experience and creps here. If you'd like to join the show, it's in the description. All you have to do is just hit that button and join the show. We'll get you in the show, and we'll go. So who wants to go first, Corey or Alfredo? Which one do you want to talk about that meetup in Juliet? I wish Joe would come on the show. He might be working.
Up to Corey. Corey, go ahead and go first. That's fine.
Well, we had a good number of people, not enough spots on the table, so we ended up not taking advantage of the 10X, kind of like we had intended, but some hopping back and forth between Hollywood, which is a Penn property, and the Harrah's, which is a Caesars property. With mixed results throughout the weekend. Some were up, some were down. Some poor shooting along the way, some good shooting along the way, and timing was everything.
All right, Alfredo, you wanna chime in on the?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of different people that stepped up. Fuzzy was there. He's in the chat. He actually caught up pretty well. He was with Corey and I for most of the bigger hits that we had. Day two was so much better than the opening morning that we had. I think the first session I was slightly to the positive. Net, I think you guys heard about the big roll. So I ended up coloring up after everything was all said and done, including expenses, plane trip, and everything. 7,400 to the positive. So it was really really good for the bankroll. Into the day going before I hit that big roll, I was already 2,700, but I gave some back that morning. Leading into it, and luckily I never went back into my wallet. So the 1,500 or was it the 1,000 or 1,500 that I had in at that day, I had about 290 that I went to table with, and everything else was all profit from the big roll. But right. Lots of people. Giuseppe had a huge roll before I had that big roll. Besides three of us hitting the all tall small. So Evelyn hit Yo Girl hit the all tall small. I hit it twice,
saw that in the chat. And
Kevin Turtle Craps hit it as well. And we all hit it within hours of each other on the same table. So.
Wow.
I'm going to ask you a question real quick here. Go back to Giuseppe, because you and I were out for Big AZ's, Blue Wrench Crew. We met out there. He doesn't watch his show, by the way. That's why I'm going to talk about him. Isn't he just a wonderful guy? I mean, he's just an incredible person, and he cruises a lot, which I'm envy of now because I haven't been lately. But he's just a wonderful guy. And to hear you and Corey say that he had a decent role, that's good. We had problems with the 10X time too, basically because everything was $25 table and was full. Finding a table early in the week for the 10X week was easy. A nighttime not so easy, and then a weekend it was really really tough to get on. So let's head over to Leon. Leon, if you can unmute yourself. I know you traveled some, Leon, but we'll come back and maybe talk about what you have to tell us a little bit later on when we get to the Churro celebration coming up. But did you travel, correct?
I did. Yeah, I went to. My wife had her own thing to go to in Vegas, and I tagged along and got some playtime in while I was there. So pretty good. It's the second trip I've had where I was up and I left. So all in all, pretty good. So.
All right. So with that said, let's go. And I think who we haven't specifically talked to just yet. Ed, did I get to you, Ed, or did I skip you? Did I skip Ed? I didn't mean to skip Ed. Ed, what did you think of Atlantic City?
Do you really want to know?
Next subject.
Brutal honesty.
It's going to
man.
get good when it
Brutal
starts
honesty
out like
of
that.
Successful that is Atlantic City.
DGen was fantastic. He hit the tall over at the Nugget. I couldn't. What did I leave? A 9? Did I leave a 9 hanging?
Several times.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
I left a 9 hanging, which is like stupid for me, but anyway, it happened. I enjoyed it. The wife enjoyed it. We flew out on a junket. The first time I've ever gone on one of Caesar's little junkets. The only reason I went there. And quite frankly, I would do it again. I mean, as far as the junket's concerned, I would actually request that Atlantic City reduce their table length to 12 foot instead of 14. But it took me more than a minute to get used to the 14-foot tables. But they were all true bounce. I did not have a bad table. Did not consider any of them a bad table. I thought that the tables were very fair. It just took me too long to get dialed in on the 14 footers. When we went to the 12 footer at Golden Nugget, DGN had a great roll. I had a decent roll following him. There was a weird woman in between us that was like stuffing chips in a can or something under the rail. I don't know. She was doing something weird. I think she was doing some weird shit.
That was at the Nugget.
But yeah, DGN can tell you more about that. He was next to her, but you know, I fell in a hole and never climbed out. I got to thinking about it. I think I had 2 positive sessions in the whole weekend, basically 48 hours that I was there, basically, because we flew in Thursday night, got in very late Thursday night.
Yes.
Left very early Sunday morning. A couple of football parlays and a last minute hit on a slot machine pulled me up just a little bit as I was walking out the door. Walked by and told my wife, I said, let's play this game right here real quick. Hit that damn thing for $250, and I hit cash out real quick. We went on down, waited on the bus. But you know, the junkets, you know, a lot of people have mixed feelings on the junkets. I've never been on one, but other than you hurry up and wait, which is basically any airline, I thought they were all good. I mean, you know, I get off a bus there at Tropicana, and I will get in line, walk right straight to the counter, and they hand me my room tickets. I ain't even got to check in. I'm done. No line, no wait. Just go ahead and go. So the junkets from Caesars, I was very impressed with.
All right.
Quite frankly, I would do them again, no question.
Well, Duraso wants to know if this is going to be a casino recap for everyone, but I'm going to go ahead and head over to Gargoyle and just check in with him real quick, see if he's been on any recent trips and any success that he may have had. Anything going on there?
Nothing recent, partially because right now life changes is keeping me away from the casino, but mostly because several months ago I tore up the ligament and the muscle in my right shoulder. Ed knows this because he's actually seen me in a sling that I had to wear for several weeks. And although I'm a switch hitter, I don't like to walk up to the table just only with, you know, being able to shoot from with my left hand. I'm up to the point where I can shoot underhanded and everything. The only thing I can't really shoot is my part toss, because I gotta extend all the way for the continuation, and it will hurt when I do that. But as soon as my shoulder gets back, and you know, I'll probably go to Tunica or Biloxi or one of those.
All right. Well, I'm glad you made it back for us. I know you came on before the green room and you said you would just want to check to make sure your new computer was working on Zoom, and I'm glad you stayed for a little while with us. I hope you stay for some of the show, and it's a pleasure to have you back. I know after the episode on Ed's show, Tales of the Table. I know you were in the chat today. You saw that episode today with Cashier's Cage. Maybe we'll come back to that in just a little bit. We'll get to some questions here, but welcome back again, and I hope you come back more often.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Everybody's making comments about injuries they have. So we're going to go over to the first question. John, did I give you an opportunity to talk about any trips you may have made? I know you're getting ready for next weekend. No audio again, John. Every time you step away, John, there's no audio. No audio. We'll get him to reset it. We'll get him to reset it again. See if he can come on there. So, oh, look at the puppy down there that Dejan's got. All right, guys, I'm going to ask one more time. If you have a question, put it in capital Q, capital letters for somebody you might want to address, something that's on the panel. Come join us. John, the floor is yours. I can hear you now.
Do you have? Okay. Jeez. Yeah, I haven't been anywhere recently. But we had the big meetup here in Seattle coming this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Got I think 20 something people showing up. It should be pretty cool. We have a good band of locals that'll be here and a good band of people coming in. Alfredo and Corey among them. Should be pretty fun. And then the week after that, I'm going to Kansas City because I'm going to be at Churro's memorial service on Saturday the 23rd, I think it is. So I'm flying into Kansas City Friday night late, and then Jen and I are going to drive out to his memorial on Saturday. Then I'm going to Florida Sunday morning, and then coming back up home, and I'll be up here till the Craps for the Cure event. That's when my whole attention will shift to Craps for the Cure as soon as we get back from Florida.
Okay.
But
I will see you
haven't been
out there
out
for that.
You will?
Yes, I will.
Really?
You will.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
For November, see? I will.
Okay.
Everything already.
Okay.
Yeah, airfares booked, rooms ready.
Well, there it is. By the way, for November, just so you guys, everybody has to know this. I'll tell you this now. I'm working on with Premier Hosting, getting rooms at Harrah's and getting things blocked out for us. It's going to be a tough time price wise because of the race coming up the week after that. So we're working hard at that. But what else are we going to say about that? The whole thing has got to be in person. So last year we had all those connection problems. So this year, Craps for the Cure, if you want to be part of the show, get your ass to Vegas. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that means I'm talking to certain people who are with us in chat and in person. I want you there more than anything than life itself, but got to be there in person because the remote stuff just does not work well. The 2 microphone thing, it was a pain in the ass. It's got to be in person to make it right. But yeah, it's going to be 2 days. It's going to be great. But I'll address that when I get back from Florida.
All right, let's go ahead and head on over to some questions. We've been live almost 30 minutes now. We had a question from Dustin. Dustin won early on. He wanted to talk about the definition, your definition or your all's definition on recovery. Let me put that up there. I don't know how you want to interpret that, but definition on recovery. I think that everybody probably has in their mind their own recovery system. I don't know what he's asking from a definition standpoint. If there's a definition somewhere, I think with the experience that we have here on the panel tonight, I'm going to let somebody else take a stab at that question. My recovery always gets criticized because I go full Dejan when I go into recovery. So, anybody want to take a stab at the recovery? Anybody? Why don't we get Dustin on the show here and he can tell us? Don't make me call on you. Like the teacher. Don't somebody volunteer. Otherwise, I'm gonna call on somebody.
I'll volunteer. For me, I'm trying to recover as soon as I'm down three betting units. So if I've have 3 full if I've had 3 full bets of players and lost that, then I'm looking at recovering, and I'm trying to make it happen within the 20% before I get to the 50% level. So that might mean I don't have enough coverage to go on all the bets double. I might have to go 2.5 on the 6-8 and then spread, or 5-9 or something like that. Have them at a lot higher level, be able to get a couple of hits spread out at a lower level and then go back up. And so that'll pay for that roll plus a little bit into what you're putting on that existing roll. But it still is a short game. You can't play it as a long game. You try to play recovery as a long game and you're going to get clipped. If you're not out within 3 physical hits, whatever they are, and that might mean that you need some coverage on the horn numbers. So many people don't play the horns, and 2 of those first 3 hits might be horn numbers. You don't get anything. So that's my recovery is just play a little higher, maybe less numbers, bump them up the first 2 rolls take it down, go lower, and then hopefully you hammer that roll.
All right. Anybody else want to take a stab at a recovery? Corey, you look like you were getting ready to say something a minute ago. Were you?
Yeah. For me, it's when I'm behind, I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna start taking some collects and be a little less aggressive on the presses. I play a regression method anyhow. So I'm not going to change that, but I'm going to be a little less aggressive on my presses and get a little more collecting early on, just to get some chips back in the rail before I return to my normal aggression level.
All right. Anybody else want to talk about it? Dylan, what do you do from a recovery standpoint?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking really hard how to answer this, and Alfredo's got everybody's got the right picture. It's just how you execute it. And I was thinking, well, if I've got a plan that my original strategy is 1 hit or 2 hits, then I'm going to go for 3 hits or 4 hits before I regress, and so because it's called recovery for a reason, you've got to get but you can't, again, like Alfredo said, you can't stay out there forever. So you've got to have a plan in mind, so it's double of whatever your original plan was at a higher level, so that then you can regress and come back. So that's what I'm thinking of what a quote unquote recovery strategy should look like in a theoretical place. Or does that make sense?
No, it absolutely doesn't make sense. And I think that's why I said I think everybody's recovery mode, if you will, this microphone's in my way. The recovery mode, if you will, is probably a little different than other people. When I say I go full degen, I mean I'm not like going full dice degen, but you're supposed to smile at that, thank you. But I just I don't know if I get short tempered or I get whatever. My 220 might look like 330, could look like 440 for a hit or two, but it all depends on where I am in the bankroll and whether I'm local or whether I'm traveling. Traveling, I don't usually go into recovery mode. I usually quit for the session and come back later on. And I think that if I had to give anybody a word of advice on recovery, is to just walk away and come back again. Maybe recovered on the next one.
Another thing
else on recovery.
One other last thing I wanted to throw in here. Another thing that you can do instead of going, you can do almost the opposite, where instead of going on tilt recovery, which is what some people do, and in that case, scenario is what I tried to describe this a moment ago. You can do it a different way. You can go with just minimum bets across. You can do, if it's 10, you can just go across for the minimum and stay out there for a few hits, and then go off. That's another type of recovery mode that you can jump into, which is a little bit different mindset as well. So I wanted to throw that out there too. It's not just just throw everything at the wall and go and go be more aggressive. But you can still try your luck with just the basics and try to recoup slowly that way, and then just take a little bit more hits than what you would normally do, but still stay low, and then turn your bets off, and then try and reset that way. So there's different ways of quote unquote resetting that you got to think about.
All right, I'm gonna move over.
Jeff, I thought you said something good there though. A lot of people either walking away or taking your bets down totally. So if your normal thing is 2 hits and regress, instead of 2 hits and regress, go 2 hits and down, or turn them off until you get to the next roller. It takes a lot of discipline, but that is a very good way to continue to build back up your bankroll. If you can stick to it. It's not easy though.
Nope, it is. You're right. Discipline is all about it. I put this up. Dustin put something that Ed said, and I don't remember this. It could have been from the last show or maybe on one of his live shows. He said he asked Ed the same question, was surprised by his answer. Ed, do you remember what your answer was?
I got no freaking idea. I wish he'd tell us. I could probably use a refresher course right now.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to recover, you got to figure out why the hell you're down to start with. Are you betting did y'all watch that show tonight? Are you going out there and betting, 96 across on yourself and 96 across on every other swinging dick that's on the damn table? Or are you betting the dark side on all them other swingies? I mean, that's the damn question. Just why the fuck are you down to start with?
I think you're right. And so we can take that in two levels, Ed. So first of all, you're right. For me, the very first bet I place on the table, I'm already in recovery mode. Like, I'm fixing to lose whatever I put out there. Whether I'm going dark side on a random person or whatever on myself, it's that money's already lost to me. So I'm in recovery mode from jump. So my whole thing, you guys know me well enough by now, my whole mission in life is to get bankroll neutral before anything else ever happens, right? And so I look at like every single shooter that I'm in recovery mode, number one. But as far as betting the same on everybody else, that's a mindset thing, right? That's, if you think you have a shooting advantage, I understand what Cage is saying there. If you are a believer in everything being random, then you bet the same on every single player. And if you have the bankroll that Waylon has, and you're just going to bet a system that has recovery built into it because you're laddering losses, then you don't give a shit. So either you have bankroll and you don't care, or you think it's random and you don't care, or you treat single shooter as careful, and get my $50 back or my $66 back or whatever I'm out there for back before I think about anything else. Like that's how I look at it. I'm already down the money I bet. The minute at least my rack,
you'll careful yourself into the damn, you ain't got nothing to take to the cage except the chips that you were going to tip somebody if you ain't careful. I played a game in Tropicana, Atlantic City.
What the fuck are you doing now?
On Friday night. And I bought in, you talk about low roller. I bought in for $120. Stick right one. And the dice were at stick left one. And I said to myself, if you can win $110, by the time the dice get to you, you will have accomplished a goal that you can bet 110 inside on a $25 table. On a $25 table, you can accomplish your goal of having enough to bet inside on yourself by the time you get the dice. That was my goal. Now, is that recovery? I don't know if you want to call that recovery, but I'm going to tell you, I placed a don't pass on the first guy for $25, and he hit a freaking 7. So I'm immediately in the hole down to 100. But by the time the dice went, it was a full table. By the time the dice got all the way around, old Ed had lucked himself into $110 profit. Dumbass Ed didn't walk from the table. Dumbass Ed placed it on himself, shooting out of position. But I still had my money in my pocket. But I had the casino money. Okay, I'm going to try to see if I can do this. But from stick right one on a 14-foot table, it didn't last long. So I immediately cashed up after I lost my $110, which I think was like a PSO. But if it wasn't, it was damn close. But you gotta learn how to play the table and play the game that's in front of you. And then you got to have confidence in yourself. If you're going to be, if you think you're a shooter, and you have confidence in yourself. I saw guys in Tropicana bet 6 and 8 only on themselves that were pretty damn good shooters, and bet 110 inside on people they didn't know from Adam, which I thought was stupid. And I called them out on it. I'm like, dude, why are you betting that much on a guy you don't even know? I made, you're hitting my $90 6 and 8. I'm pressing up to 90. You're pressing me to one. I'm collecting 105. Why the hell are you betting that much on a stranger? So there's people out there. You've got to learn how to bet yourself, and you got to learn how to bet the strangers. And if you got confidence in yourself, bet yourself. If you don't have confidence in yourself, get to the cage.
There you go. Almost the same thing that that Jacob just said, take a shot, let your nuts hang.
Yeah, well, Jacob said earlier, though, which is smart, right? Your strategy on itself should be recovery built in. Like if your strategy is so shitty that it can't recover, then you got a bad strategy, right? Or you're doing something wrong anyway. So, it's going to work or it's not going to work, right? Like Ed said, the game in front of you, the game in front of you. If it ain't working today, you either leave or you, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
Or you change your strategy. I mean, Sith Lord, I was playing with them, and I talk shit about people that are hybrids all the time. I'll say it, right? I say that it's not a smart play. I went on a hybrid just like Ed, had $45 in front of me, and got back around to me and had $290, playing a hybrid with a heavy dome, and I because I got tired of sitting right next to Corey, and I say, okay, I'm down 350. He's like, I'm up 400 in the same shooters. I'm like, what the hell's going on this table? And it was just cold and bad and just more bad. And I finally got tired of it and said, you know what, let me try this. And I started hopping. I did some other hedges. So when they actually did hit a point, it didn't hurt me, but it didn't cost me anything really either. Like it cost me an extra $10, which I already had covered because it had all the numbers up there. So I was still playing a positive hybrid. And ultimately choosing the light side, but letting the don't actually pay me off at the end.
All right. Anything else on recovery before we move on to the next question? Anybody? Any comments? Welcome. Go ahead, Leon.
Yeah, I'll go. So for me, I always play super short stack. I'm only in for 50 to 100. So, Ed, your experiment is my daily life at the table, and my recovery will be whatever strategy I'm playing. If I get down where I can't play that strategy, then it's my job to recover enough to keep playing that strategy. And I'm either out to zero, or I'm back up and walking even, or I'm walking with some profit along there somewhere.
All right. Let's welcome Craig from Obey Craps to the show. Craig, you can unmute yourself. If you have any comments on recovery, you were in AC. We already talked about the trip a little while ago before you joined the show, so I know you were there with us.
Sometimes I have started with a hybrid, and if I needed to recover, I've gone back to a hybrid so that I can reread the table because I must have missed something reading it wrong the first time. But that's what I would do if I was recovering. Atlantic City was a great and brutal trip at the same time. Second day, I doubled the bankroll. Right before the third day, I lost the profit and the bankroll. Had to go into my reserves on Thursday. Things went okay, and then Friday it was another recovery, but then I recovered and went home with plus $5, and I was satisfied with the plus $5.
At least you came out on the plus side, because I did not.
Well, it was that last session at Tropicana with you and Chris.
How come I didn't win any money? No, I tell you what. I took on the first couple of days you and I were there on your roll, my roll. I was 1,700 ahead, and then I played bad. I'm gonna tell everybody. I played bad. I played, as it's called it, stupid. And I never recovered after being up 1,700. I should have never been on the negative side, and I was. But that's what happens with this game. It does. So let's go ahead and move on to another question here. Let's see what we can find out here. We had a question. I'm going to kind of like save a couple of these questions to my myopia. I'm going to come back to your question in a little bit because we will be talking about that. What's this here, John, about the Florida and the sports betting? I know a couple people in here have said something. Let's go. I mean, craps. I'm sorry, I said sports betting.
There was a big. So obviously, Florida had no live craps, no live roulette forever, and they just, I think, in the last 6 weeks or so, passed the thing where now, and for some reason, it was tied to sports betting. There's a big lawsuit with all the tribes down there with the Seminole tribe and the state about sports betting. I think that has been resolved as far as I understand it, which means that it unlocks craps and roulette. live in the casinos. I was wondering if we've seen tables yet. It's so new. I don't know if in that amount of time if they've already launched tables with craps and roulette
No
in Florida
tables.
or not yet. So not yet.
We have,
Okay.
we have not.
I think it's coming.
We have not. It's the reported dating is about mid-October. They've got to get dealers trained up. Is the word.
Oh, good luck with that one. And I do the clearing throat on purpose. I do. All right. So no, I know that the law passed a while ago to have table games or craps, but I guess between, as John explained it, that makes sense to me because I have not been following that at all. I used to go to Florida several times a year, and I stopped going to Florida and started heading back out west. So if they get craps back, maybe I will. I played a lot of poker down in Florida.
Hopefully they'll get it soon. That'll keep them dumb asses from Florida out of Biloxi.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I'm going to be making a visit there in January, so I'm hoping they've got it figured out by then.
Yeah, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks. I was hoping I could swing by the guitar and play a little bit, but maybe not.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you'll be lucky to see it by the end of the year, in my opinion. But I'm not in Florida.
John, we were just talking about the craps for the cure coming up, and I'm going to bring this question up that I missed the question here I want to add with the previous topic. We might come back to that. That Rich brings up here about the Vegas F1 race and the timing and to avoid the price increases. I actually I'm a Caesars person. I got out of the 5 days, I got 3 of them comped and a real small fee on the other one. No resort fees because of my level, but still I'm paying something to be there on a Friday and a Saturday night. Not a lot. It's tolerable, but. What do you think about this? I mean, have you given that any thought?
I have given it thought. The one good thing is now that I'm a host with Premier, I can get better rates, right? So I can do some work behind the scenes to help us all with that problem. The reason why this year it has to be the weekend that it is because we're raising money for vets, right? The whole point is we're doing vets moving forward for PTSD with the dog training thing. And I felt like Veterans Day weekend was the weekend to do that. It just seems like there's no more perfect time to get it done. And I've done it every year in November so far. So to change it, not a big deal. We can pick a different weekend to avoid that if we can't get the right pricing through Caesars. Or now we represent Station too. So I represent Station and Caesars. Moving it to a different city, totally out there. I could do it in Atlantic City. I could do it anywhere. It doesn't matter what city we do it in. Vegas and our relationship with David at Casino Quest has been so great that I'd like to keep fostering that. But honestly, it could be everywhere. Anywhere we could do it. We could do it in Biloxi for sure, AC. I don't mind traveling it around. It's a plane ride either way, right? That's how I look at that. But yeah, it's a good thought by him. I didn't know that last year when we set the dates, we didn't know about the F1 race. Now we're like, oh crap. We're right in the middle of all the mess, So hopefully we can get rooms not be a big deal for us. I'm sorry, the dogs are driving me crazy. I keep looking over the side, but the problem is I either hear something that I don't like hearing from the dogs, like they're chewing on something hard plastic, which means I got a remote control again, or it's too quiet. And too quiet's way worse.
Yeah, sometimes too quiet is not good.
Yeah.
But
I think the bigger thing for people to get up to some of these regional meetups is making sure that they're on weekends. I mean, there's a lot of us that work during the middle of the week, and if I'm gonna work, during the week. So if we take time off during the week, that's PTO that we need to take, and it's so much harder. It's easier for me to get a hotel on a weekend, even though I know it's harder for others. But that's part of the advantage that I have of playing. So I like future meetups that I have outside of maybe a couple for Big AZ that are during the week, I'm probably only going to be going to the ones that are on the weekend.
What does Dave think at Casino Quest about? Have you heard, John? Have you heard what's his opinion on the F1 impact compared to what you're doing?
He is for this year optimistic because it's the first year of it. He's like, we already booked it. It's solid. After this year, we're going to know. Like how screwed up did Vegas get? How bad was that's what we're going to find out. So he wants to, like, this year we'll see what's up. If we have to move it, we'll move it. But we don't know. We don't know yet. All we know now is that traffic sucks.
Yeah, I was out in March, and I was actually reading a couple articles while we were out there with the Blue Wrench crew and Big AZ, and they actually were doing they released an article that talked about the amount of revenue that one F1 race brings in compared to when they're going to hold the Super Bowl in Vegas, what that will do. And it was like 10 times the amount of a Super Bowl weekend that this race brings in, which was, I couldn't comprehend that because I'm not into that type of racing. But I guess Formula One is big bucks. I don't
huge.
know. Yeah.
It's huge, but I'm surprised the Super Bowl being as big as it is.
Yes.
But again, we're Americans, right? So, to us, the Super Bowl is like the be all end all, but you're looking like the World Cup in soccer and how much it's like 30 times the Super Bowl in revenue worldwide. I think the F1 is probably the same thing because it is international racing.
Right.
And I also think that they're counting the economic impact. So like all the road work and stuff like that of people that had to be put to work and everything into that number.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a negative impact in Baltimore. They didn't keep it. It lasted one year, and
really
they tried it, and the city lost so much money.
Yeah, but Vegas prints money for a living. That's what Vegas does. So they can probably suffer it.
Right.
Formula One bought property past the Westgate, where they're going to have their pit crews and the pit for the cars. But after the race, they're going to have all year round, VR racing and all that stuff. So F1 invested in Vegas, so they're going to be there for a while. I love racing. I have a racing license. I race Corvette GTDs back in my younger days.
Oh,
cool. And I have not been to any F1 races in the U.S. because I'm getting too old for waiting in line and long lines and paying $1,500. At some point, I'll go to one, but it won't be in Vegas. If you're planning on going to Vegas and gambling during that time, I'll save you half the money. Take half of your bankroll, burn it, flush it down the drain, and put the amount back in the drawer.
That's a good analogy. Oh my. Yeah, when we were there, Alfredo took me back to the hotel one night when we were there in March, and on that backside of Koval, it was just a nightmare, let alone to get into the three areas that you read to get in there, just to be let off. I told Alfredo, just stop in the middle of the strip, just let them jump out real quick. But he went around back there, and Dice Dr. Dan was the same way, and I mean, even he's complaining about that. I took an Uber one time when we were in Vegas, and even the Uber driver said during those 2 weeks of F1, he's going to be outside of Vegas Ubering because he doesn't want to be downtown, because he could catch 3 or 4 trips in an hour where he'll get 1 an hour, and the city approved. I don't know if this is true or not. The city approved like a temporary increase during that time period for taxi and Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said. All right, so got that one out of the way. I got a question here from Anime, which Joe brought up that we had a question. I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about this since we have a few YouTube people on here. And I'm going to hit both questions. She had a follow-up, or he had a follow-up after it. It is, why are there so many YouTube craps channels, and that waters down the good ones? Too many copycats, in my opinion. And then followed it up with, thanks, guys. Just one last question. I also feel some channels always say they have a winning session all the time. Why can't the craps channel creators just be honest and tell us what they think? Thanks again. So Joe pointed out that was a good question. I've already harped on this before, so I'm not going to harp on it again. I think there are some great craps channels out there, some that aren't in our community. I think from a copycat standpoint, you can only do but so much with craps. No matter if I call, John's Hedgeless Horseman, if I call it the 4 GoDaddy, that's 4 bets, John. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same thing. So we got YouTubers on here. Anybody want to take a shot at why we do what we do, or we don't do what we do, whatever?
I can't speak for anybody else. It's entertaining.
Craig.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Craig, I started my channel. Maybe you did it for the same reason. I started my channel way back because I wanted to start practicing more, right? And I want to become a dealer someday, and I wanted to finally try throwing dice, right? And I thought if I have a channel and I go live all the time, then it's going to hold me accountable. And so I really did it for that reason, right? I did it to kind of prove what I know, and by having to say it, I have to live what I say, and I think it kind of keeps me grounded. That's why I did it. Why did you start your channel? Was it just to be entertaining?
I started my channel because I got the idea for movie strategies, and I was like, if I'm going to do this, I might as well do this on YouTube, and maybe I can do whatever other people are doing, and start small with one camera, one angle, one view. You have to trust me on the rolls because you're not going to see the other end of the table, and the table is makeshift. And then it's just grown from there. Now and then it built to like 4 different segments that I was doing, and now it is what it is now with the show that I have, and then sometimes I go live, and then I just got back to doing movie strategies, but I'm enhancing the production. So, but that's the reason I got in it for the movie strategies. I knew I gotta do something different. Everybody does things from what I was watching. Strategies and whatnot, and tossing dice and trying to do their channels based on this and that. And I was like, well, nobody's doing movies, and I love movies. It's my number one love in the world. So can I combine it with craps? And that's where the idea came from.
Well, I started for the same reason that John did. However, I quickly found out that doing strategy videos it's too redundant. I did everything, all mine live. My production quality from a live standpoint was probably so-so, but far you compare something like what Jacob does, what Jeremy does from Color Up, it's not that quality. But craps isn't the only gambling that has hundreds of channels. Roulette. You've got the people that do the blackjack and all the other table games that's in there. You even got some on Keno, and I'm like, oh, well, I'd fall asleep doing that. But it is what it is. But from a standpoint of, let's go ahead and talk about why we started our channel. Let's go to Leon first, and we'll step upstairs on the Brady Bunch circle there with Chris Dice Agent in the middle. Leon, he must be eating. Okay, I'll come back to you if you want me to, Leon. You want me to come back to you?
No, I'm ready. I'll go. I got kiddos trying to make them be quiet. So, yeah, for me, it was natural progression. If I'm going to play this game, number one, you got to have a real table to play on, and then once you get a real table, well, let's put it on camera and just press record. So, content coming up with new content is hard. The natural thing is that everybody wants to see strategy videos. So, yes, they do get old, and it's like writing music. There's only so many chords. There's only so many things and combinations you can do to make strategies. So eventually we're all going to copy each other, whether intentionally or unintentionally. That's just the way it is. So for me, it's coming up with unique stuff. It's like Craig said with his movie strategies, and that's a great idea, So it's something to make it different and to stand out and be unique. So I always have a few ideas bouncing around in my head. I'm more focused on quality versus quantity. So I take my time with my content, and I'm very careful of what I put out. And it may be a while between videos, but I'm more happy with what I put out that way. And then I mix that up with a little bit of short.
Well, everybody raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand if you want to see a series on great craps called Mile High Craps with his dice.
What a great video.
Sitting with his tray down.
I did a short.
And you did the whole series.
I was flying on Allegiant, and they don't have Wi-Fi, so I couldn't do live craps on the plane. But the next time on American, I'll try and do it for sure, definitely. So yeah, that's the other thing is doing short when I travel and kind of demonstrating you can play this game anywhere if you have the right stuff. If you have the tiniest layout possible, you can play it anywhere. And so yeah, it's kind of neat.
Let's go from Florida to Philly. Let's go over to Chris Dice Degen. And, Chris, why did you start your channel?
I started my channel because people my age are idiots. And they don't listen.
Amen.
they have a problem listening. Okay, and I'm not one of them
What?
because I listen. Now, there's a difference between listening and actually listening, but I hear what you say. Anyway, I'm going to bring up the age thing. Yes, yes, yes. I know. You guys are all going to say that I'm calling you old. You are. Don't worry. No, I'm kidding. Dude, that's the main reason, though. Honestly, is I went to the crap stable a bunch, and I was watching a lot of your guys' channels, other channels, and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. I like this, and I started using the casino, and I'm sitting next to another 26-year-old who's doing something stupid, and I'm like, well, you're a moron. Can't wait to watch you lose this money. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe they would listen if it was coming from somebody who was more of their age or more within their style of talk or whatever. So that's really why I started it. It was more for fun, for a hobby. That's really it. There's no monetary incentive to me. I could care less about any of that kind of stuff. It's more that, and then now I continue to do it because of the camaraderie in the group and stuff. It's really good. I love chatting with all of you and putting videos out, and somebody says, oh, I love this video, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it's good, but I know the young people are being reached, which is positive, because craps, statistically speaking, has a higher average age of player than many other games in the casino. So you want me to call you old again? Because I said it in the beginning. I'll call you guys all old again.
But Chris, you bring up a good point here. We go to the casino, and I'm playing next to you, and there's 3 or 4 other guys, your age, maybe 10 years either way. Okay, they're old enough to be in the casino, but maybe 10 years older. And they're there. For the most part, you're right, they're idiots. But when I was down in Biloxi, we ran into a group of these younger guys that really was into the game. And I don't think, you would think that in today's technological world that they would watch something to do with YouTube other than Instagram and TikTok and whatever else they may do. But, I think, reaching out and having somebody your age, because, I'm twice your age, by the way, maybe more than that. But when we're together, it doesn't affect us. But we need the younger people in the game. We need to have people at the table so that the electronic side of craps doesn't take over. I know there's a place for bubble craps and there's a place for stadium and roll to win, but we need to have players continuously playing them. And it's people like YouTube channels like yours that show that youth, or the two youths, the youths, yeah, the youths. My cousin Vinny. But you made a good point there.
One thing that Chris has got captured, one thing Chris does, I think, better than anybody, which is why you're getting the young kids, not just because you're young, right? But speaking for myself, I talk too fucking much, right? My shows are an hour and it's not enough, right, for me. You have a way of being like, all right, let's do this. All right, idiot. Okay, bet, and your video's over. And in 8 seconds, you got it done, and your generation's got an attention span of a puppy. Right, which is you speak to that, and the rest of us can't do that, right? And I think that's great. Even if you're doing the exact same shit I'm doing, you're doing it Chris's way, so it gets those kids that aren't otherwise listening to me because I sound like their dad, right? I think that's cool. That's what it's all about, And I think as far as there being too many channels and everybody's copying, whatever. There's only so much you can do at some point. And I think that the community that we've built here is strong enough to withstand all that. And I think,
John,
I love watching. Truth. I always do. Now I love watching Joe. I love watching Joe get better, right? Like Joe. I love you, Joe, but you sucked for a long time, and now you're really good. Like your throw. Right? He's not here, so I can say that. But no, when he first started, right? No. But his white belt, he was not very good, right? Just like me, I suck too. I'm the first one to admit it. Now look at Joe throwing in the mornings. Right? He's diagnosing shit. He's getting better. It's great to watch that. You know what I'm saying? As we all get better, even if we're doing a lot of the same stuff, Crapsy for a long time was a pain in the ass. Jeff and Alfredo did a lot of Crapsy, a lot of the same exact things. But guess what? Between them, it's gotten better. Timing is better. Chuck at Crapsy has made the app better because of what they're doing, right? And so that whole iron sharpens iron thing is great to me. And I think that, yeah, there's some dilution out there, but ultimately, to me, I've seen all your stuff, right? And so when somebody new comes along, I'm all in. I'm like, give me something different voice while I'm walking the dog. You know?
But you're right about one thing, is that how
one
long,
thing?
you know, well, yeah, just one thing. You know, I've done some videos, but I've not put them out because, and they've made profit, but I'll look down at my watch and I'm like, an hour and 6 minutes, shit, I can't put this fucking thing out. Then I realized I recorded that too, me saying that. So I'm like, there's some videos that just don't make it because they're just too fucking long. And they're not going to keep the attention span of Dice Degen, who wants to be done in 8 minutes.
Yeah,
all right.
You're right. That's the thing though. Like,
I can't.
John made a good point there too. And even like the thing with like, I mean, I know a lot of people do it. I'm not going to say like I do it, but I know a lot of people do it, right? When I'm watching a video, I'll be honest with you, half the time, I'm not just looking at my screen, doing something else while I'm watching the video, right? So like, I can't have a video that's sitting here and you introduce me some strategy. All right, great. And then you tell me some story about your mom or something else. You lost me, right? I have no clue what's going on next video. I'm not paying attention any longer, right? But when the videos are, not saying they have to be short, but when they're concise and points are being made and like I can follow along, great. And with the crap stuff, I'm different with that kind of stuff. Like I'll put a video on and I'll pay attention to it because it's craps and I like it, right? But with like other things, if you don't pull me in and you don't keep me interested, I'm going right off that video. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people, again, like me, right? John said I got the attention span of a puppy. I truthfully do. Like, you can ask my girlfriend. I literally have the attention span of a goldfish. Like, you can't keep me entertained for very long. It's not easy. So, it's partly because of the ADHD, but, you know, whatever. It's not important. But, yeah, you got to keep the, especially the young crowd, like, we suck.
But there are some videos, Chris, that are just really good to have in the background.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Sarge's last trip report. I watched the whole, I had the whole thing on the whole time. I'm trying to do work, but I kept looking back at it because he had some really interesting things that happened. But that was the whole point. Like I knew I wanted something that I just wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it like a podcast. And some people who put videos that are long out there, that's what I tend to do. I tend to treat it like I'm listening to a podcast. So I'm still getting your content. I'm just not always seeing it. And if you did something interesting, then maybe I'll go back and watch a snippet, you know, like we all do with John's videos. We just go back and watch a snippet.
Well, no, what I do is, you know, what I do in the morning, because of both John's shows, I don't watch them, I listen to them. And I'm either driving or doing something here in the studio here where I am now, but I'm listening to what he's saying. And, you know, then I move on. A lot of videos I do that. You know, like I'll tune into Alfredo's shows and just listen to what he's talking about and what he's saying. But it doesn't mean that I'm not there. You know, same thing with Ed's channel. So speaking of those two, we've got Alfredo and Ed that are both YouTubers. Ed, why did you start your channel?
Oh, well, do you want to know the damn truth of the whole shit?
I knew. I got ready to say I shouldn't have asked him.
We wouldn't ask you unless we wanted to know the truth.
You need to go ahead and go to Alfredo. Just cut me off. Cut me off right now.
All right,
go to Alfredo.
I'll come in right now, Alfredo.
No, I think you guys have talked about it before. There's a lot of snake oil that's out there as far as strategies that will get people in trouble. Right? They're going to lose real money if they go and try to implement that type of strategy with the bankroll that they take. And so I had been there and lost a shit ton of money. You know, the thing that funded it was I was really good at blackjack. And so I didn't lose ton of money playing at the casino because I was making money here and just going and dunking it over there until I learned how to play the game and then got a table. And I just want to share that experience of there is a way to play this game that you can make money consistently. Now, you're going to have losing sessions. You're going to have losing trips. You can make it up. You just can't continue to dig a bigger hole. And you have to recognize when to walk. You have to recognize when to throttle down within the session to be able to get there. And I try to walk people through how I do it. people talk about people having winning sessions. You know, I don't know of a time that I can go to a casino now where multiple people don't recognize me. There's no way that I can go and put out there. All of my stuff, for the most part, is live. I don't put edited stuff out there. So you're gonna see what you see, and what you hear and what you get is exactly how it was. And so, you know, I don't know that there's gonna be any trips in the future that doesn't have multiple people within this community not playing with me at some point within those sessions. They're going to be able to see that and validate, you know, exactly what happens. Now, some people don't like to believe other people that might only show you a ticket, you know, on occasion. You know, I'm stuck with mail sometimes the entire trip that I'm there, every single session. And so you're going to have people that are there to validate. If someone doesn't want to believe, I mean, I posted some pictures. Corey was the one that wrote the entire thing of the 66 rolls. I didn't make it up, but I got like 15 different people saying you're full of shit, this and that. Some people making memes of different stuff. That's because they're haters, right? They've never shot a 66 roller before, and that's not me being egotistical. They're just being blanket assholes, and it is what it is, right? I can call them that because they want to be asshole and sit there and say, you know, I made that up. It is what it is, right? So I do this not to make any money, because I make money playing craps. I make money playing poker. I make money doing my daily job, despite other people's belief, you know. And there's still a vacuum for craps that people want. You know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, there's too much out there. Well, there's not enough. There's people waiting for people to put out good crapsy tables and be able to keep them entertained and do that. You see, when Jeff and I are both on a trip at the same time, you know, I got messages from dozens of people telling me, hey man, there was really nothing to do other than when, you know, the weekend came and Hawaii Crap Shooters were there, you know, because I think even at some point George was also out of the picture. And so yes. As much as I think a lot of people say there's a lot of copycatting or there's a lot of different stuff, what you get on my Crapsy shows is a very different show than a lot of others. What you get on my videos and what I talk through is very different. It may be similar to maybe Ed, you know, because we're sharing experience from the table, and the way in which we convey it is very different. So, but I appreciate all the supporters. I want every single channel to grow, and for the community to grow. I'm not, you know, I made more money on that trip than I'll probably make from YouTube in the next 5 years.
Abso-freaking-lutely you will.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Let's Ed, do you want to come back to you? I was going to head over to Corey and Gargoyle and let
I'll go. You know, and Gargoyle doesn't have a channel. He's a consumer, so
no, he doesn't. No, I was going to ask him from a consumer standpoint.
I mean, he'll give you the flat honest truth after I give you my freaking truth. I got into it because I wanted to make money, and I don't. But I wanted to. And I also wanted to make videos that were either educational or entertaining. And hopefully both. Because at the time I got into it, which was almost 3 years ago now, and many of y'all have surpassed me by thousands of viewers and subscribers. And you know, whatever. People want to dream, and I don't give them no frickin' dream. I give them the frickin' reality of what it is. They don't want to, most people don't want to put in the effort, the time, the trouble to practice. And that was you want to call it a mistake? I don't care. The mistake is people they don't want to put in the energy and the time that it takes to be successful at this game. And if you're not a shooter, you're not going to be successful. If you're going to bet on every freaking random flying dick at the goddamn table, you're not going to be successful. You're just not. That's the freaking truth. You may get lucky. I see all that chip porn. I see all that bullshit on Reddit. I see all that other stuff that everybody posts. And I'm going to tell you, it ain't real. It ain't real. It's real for the moment, but it ain't real for the long term. This game is a negative EV. You can't win at this game unless you know what the hell you're doing. You know, you can sit here and watch people do hedge strategies for the next 20 years, and all you're doing is you're betting not to win. You know, you're either gonna play to win or you're gonna play to lose. And 98% of the people are gonna play to lose. 1% of the people are gonna break even. 1% of the people are gonna win money. And the 1% that win money are the people that put forth the effort, the time, the consistency to practice, whatever it is. In my case, it's shooting. It's shooting and betting my numbers, whether or not it's imagined or whether or not it's real. I'll leave that up to you guys. You know, but a YouTube, you ask why we get into YouTube. YouTube is only one thing that makes YouTube money. Whether we make money or not, YouTube makes money, right? I mean, yeah. YouTube's the only one that makes money out of the whole damn deal. They take a cut out of everything that comes in. They're placing ads on videos when people aren't even monetized. All right. So,
yeah, nobody's doing this for YouTube money. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
My only goal, honestly, I
wanted to have some kind of supplemental income down the road. But I'm going to tell you what, if I don't have it at a certain point by this time next year, Ed will never produce another freaking video. Ever. Period. Blame it on YouTube. Blame it on Ed doesn't do good videos. I don't care. I'm just going to say, screw it. I'm going to the casino. But I wanted my videos to either be educational and hopefully entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you got to be in the millions of views per video to make any kind of money on YouTube. It just isn't possible. Even Jeremy got 100,000 subscribers. His videos are getting 40,000 views each. He can't live on this. He's huge, right? You just can't. And to me, like I said, my whole goal, now that we started Crash for the Cure, my entire mission in life is to get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm on a march to that because the reason why, and I'll tell you that the only reason for it is that YouTube does have a thing called YouTube Giving, where at 10,000 subs, all the super chats go right to the charity, no commission taken from YouTube. That's the only reason to push for it. Other than that, there's zero money in this. And I do it, honest to God, I want to change,
I'll tell everybody right now, I make between 70 and $80 a month. And guess what? They don't send you a check until you get 100. So that means about every other month you get a check for about 150, 175 bucks. That's freaking it. That's what we make. So, we can whore out ourselves to make, 1,000 subscribers, and we can whore out ourselves to do all this other bullshit. We're only making about 75 to $80 a month, folks. That's what we make. And guess what? 75 or $80 a month, we don't even get the check till the next month when we get over $100. So we don't make any damn money, right?
I didn't do it.
We don't make any damn money. All we can do is make money at the casino and try to help you make money at the casino. That's why we end up doing it.
And building friendships of other good shooters. I mean, that's where we can make money, right? Long term, if we're smart about it, if we get there during times where the table's not full, like Cage says, I mean, that's where we can make money, I think, long term. Way more money than we'll ever make from YouTube.
I think the question was, why did we start YouTube? And I did not start mine to make money. As a matter of fact, the income that I get in, I give back, and it's like Ed and John both said from views. If I make $150 a month on views, I'd be surprised. But like the shows that I do, I don't ask for super chats or super thanks or cups of coffee or any of those other crowdfunding things. People send them to me because I'm producing entertainment where Alfredo and Ed and John are educational channels. If you're going to come and watch me on a midday Mac, or you're going to watch the Duracell Perpetual table that starts up again tomorrow night, you come to be entertained. It's not there. I'm going to play the game right, and if I play it wrong, pay myself wrong, or make a stupid move, I'll take the criticism in the chat. I answer all communications, emails, and messages there is, but I didn't do it for the money. So I don't want to get a debate going here with that, but I want to switch over to Gargoyle, who is a YouTube watcher because he's here with us, and he's one hell of a craps player based upon the video Tales of the Tale from Ed, Tales of the Table. And Ed, I know you want to say one more thing, so let me put you and Gargoyle on the screen at the same time, and you go ahead and finish up.
Nah, I'm good, man. I mean, like I say, I had this dream of trying to make money on it, and it ain't possible. So, you're either going to like what we do or you're not going to like what we do. And otherwise, I don't really care.
Well, you've said it. You said if it hadn't turned around, you're going to be done whenever. I have a subscriber base in my mind that I'm going to be done.
I'm going to give mine next year, and 2024 might be my last video.
All right. So, all right. What from a as Ed called you, Gargoyle, a consumer aspect? What do you think of all the YouTube channels, or any of the gambling channels for that matter, from your standpoint?
About 98% of them are full of shit.
Thank you very much. I agree with you.
And I'll never have my own channel because nobody's going to want to watch it. Because it's human nature. People don't want to be told the truth. They want to be bullshitted. That's why they get on these channels and they try to learn all these strategies and stuff like that. There's only maybe 2% out there that are real. People don't want to be told that if you can't afford to be in the casino, don't go to the fucking casino.
That's right.
If you're buying in for $150 and you have a strategy to win $1,000, then you're an idiot. If you're going in there with a recovery, regression, and method, strategy, and all this already in your head, then you don't have no business being on a craps table where there's so much volatility that none of the stuff that you're doing is going to work. Because when you go in and you play at a craps table, your head should be on what you're trying to do and not all the other stuff that if it happens, because it's already messing with your head. Correct. If you're a shooter, then you should trust your shooting method and play your money. If not, then don't sit there and practice. Just shake the dice and roll them. Let me know when you want to cut me off so that you don't lose your viewers.
Oh no, I don't think it's going to happen at all because from the standpoint of us, all of us sitting in your position watching YouTube at one point or another, you're right, and I think some of the reasons why some of us did it is because, and I think Arnell put it out there a little while ago. I didn't pin the chat about being a snake oil and you consider yourself one, but there's so much out there that's wrong. And it's like Ed wants to be right, and if somebody calls him out on him and it's wrong, I've seen him correct himself. But I think we're all that way. But there's this little community we have here. It's just like I don't know who said it a minute ago. Somebody said about this Novato said it that this community really rocks, and it really does. But we're just a small niche of this community. We're made up of maybe 40 channels from periodically, and there's over 200 out there. So what I see daily is poorly done videos, not from a production standpoint, but from the quality of what they're trying to educate. And then they're selling somebody that's new to the game that's going to take what you just said, Gargoyle, take it to the casino and lose their ass. And that's what I got tired of doing. And and I think that's why most of us are here. So I appreciate your comments, Corey. You've met a lot of YouTubers. You're a great craps player. Sith the Lord SB YouTube channel's coming soon. What can you say?
Well, I got a couple of points. One thing I like, what most of you guys do, and this goes to the copycat part of it, is you as YouTubers are putting out, and you'll go through segments where you all hit the same thing, but you're putting your own spin on a strategy, and it's not the same. It may be a copycat, but the Moonbow was a derivation of John's unicorn talk. Somebody, Dylan, or was it Dylan that did that?
Yeah, it was.
Picked it up and did his own take on it. I did my own take at the casino on it and hit huge on it a couple of times and then didn't. Gave a bunch of it back. And it's like, oh, that's where the holes in it are.
Well, Learn the hard way.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, oh, this thing's unbeatable, and no, it's not. But that's where the YouTubers and all these strategies can make their own name, take their own spin, and do their own thing. So that's where I enjoy watching some of the different things, and then it ends up coming back around. So yeah, everybody's borrowing from everybody, but it's not stealing. And again, we're all stealing from somebody's idea from 50 years ago anyhow. So it doesn't matter.
But the strategy stealing is the strategy stealing doesn't matter at all. Like, to me, it's the whole copycat thing arose from the type of show. Like, when I was like, I'm doing that bankroll thing, right? The bankroll build strategy test every day. I've been doing that for 190 shows, 190 straight days of that thing. And now you've got a few people doing the same thing, which is good to me, because you got to get tired of me doing the same freaking thing every day, right? So it's good to see somebody else's try at making a bankroll build. And I think, it's I'm doing it one way. I'm doing a strategy the same way for 20 straight days. And Alfredo's doing his way of playing every day. Jacob did his way of playing every day. So it's the same goal, but it's different voices and different tossing and all that. I think it's good, right?
What I saw with yours, John, is that they've actually labeled it Paycheck Maker, and they give you credit. Hey, here's my attempt to do what John's been doing. And, I think credit goes a long way. Not that they have to, but there's other people in the community that takes a strategy. And since my rant video and a few other people that have made comments on there, I've actually noticed some of those other communities that are not other channels that aren't in our community. They're watching us because now they're starting to give credit. They're saying, hey, this is Waylon's strategy. This is my take on it. This is how I'm going to do it. When before it was his strategy or nothing. So, maybe some of what we've complained about and picked on each other about, maybe it's kind of rubbed off. And John, every time a new channel comes out, every time Arnell sends me, hey, here's another channel that I just found, I reach out to them and I try to bring some of them in. Some of them are here in the chat today that are craps channels, but they don't want to come on the show, or they're not there every day in our community. So I'd like to see this community grow for everybody, because everybody, we know what opinions are, but I think what's the saying, John, when you have more? You and Jeremy have this saying about ships and whatever. How's it go?
Jeremy says that it's like a rising tide raises all boats. So if the wave is the wave, right? A lot of craps is hot. People love it. That's great. That's going to be more channels. And to me, it's funny because you do get something out of it. Like, even though we've seen all the same strategies, I still get something out of watching other people play, right? Every time I watch a channel, it doesn't matter who it is, I get something out of it. It's like you find, I don't know, I'm just a lifelong learner.
How many times can you watch a freaking Iron Cross? My God. There's 47,000 videos on a freaking Iron Cross out there.
Yeah.
But
It's the number
How many
one
times can
getter
you watch
right
a
there.
Steel 66? How many times can you watch a damn Horseman? I mean, my God.
But it's not the Iron Cross.
Everybody in the world is doing that bullshit. Get off of it.
That's what you're missing, though.
Suck.
But see, you're missing my point, though, right? I don't care about the Iron Cross or the strategy. I care about the person. So when I watch Mark the Point, Ryan, doing a video,
I don't care about the person. The person ain't bankrolling me at the freaking craps table.
Well, but you and I, and the panelists here know all the strategies, right? So I'm not learning anything on how to play from Ryan. I like to watch his production. I like to hear how he talks. I like to gather like how the production works, right? Because my nerddom right now is in coding stuff up for us and watching how everybody produces their show. So to me, all the content that I see, I'm absorbing all that for later. Like, that's what I'm.
Yeah, but Jen made a good point. So
doesn't make you any money.
I started doing
content
that.
does not make you a dime.
Yeah,
the production quality of a video doesn't make you a freaking dime.
Yeah.
I get that Ed's wants to make money. I'm not in it for the money. Other people are in it for the hobby. Other people are in it for whatever. But go ahead, Alfredo. Say what you're getting ready to say.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, so to John, like, Jen had made a good point, right? I started doing that video, and I was doing it for recording purposes because I just wasn't going to be in town to be able to put out content. And she said, well, no one's going to believe if you just put a video out. So I even nixed it because they want to see it live. So I'm just going to go off the lives that I've already had throughout the time, and you've seen me build Bankroll, and you can see where it started, where I had to take a marker or not take a marker, and just go from there and put other videos. This is how I play. This is how I recover, as a different total phase video that is of itself, maybe with a targeted purpose that's at the beginning of it. And I think that's some more educational things. Maybe I'm talking about dice setting or something like that, how you modify the set in there along with how I play and how I might recover within there. But yeah, no, if you're not live, I mean, everyone's going to question, did that roll exactly happen that way?
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Can I step in and say one more thing here?
Sure.
Please.
From consumers' perspective, I think everybody here will agree that people watching videos, what they really want to know is, how can I get on a craps table and maybe win a little bit of money and not lose a lot of money? And while strategies and iron cross, all that stuff is good, that doesn't help a person figure out what's going on at the craps table, that they can change, modify, do whatever they need to do in order not to lose. We talked about patterns earlier, and patterns happen at the table in Cage's video, and patterns do happen at the table. There are people, and for the IT guys here that are listening, there are people making hundreds and thousands of dollars as data scientists for these companies, retail, and all they're doing is figuring out the pattern for shopping habits of customers. Patterns happen and it happen in life, period, all around us, including dice. Dice doesn't have a memory, but dice has history and pattern. People watching videos want to learn how they can identify certain things and how they can avoid certain things. So that's the content that, to me, in my opinion, will help viewers. Not a strategy on, regress, double pinch, regress, triple pinch, regress, and all that stuff, where somebody's going to have like a big book and go to page 17 because something happened at the table. That's not going to help anybody. That's all bullshit. What's going to help me, if I didn't know anything about the craps table, is, if something happened at the table, is it okay if I just turn my bets off because based on what other people's opinions at the table, that something bad's going to happen? People arguing with the dealer, shooters arguing with the dealers, some bad vibe coming into the table. That's the kind of stuff, for me as a consumer, I would like to see more out there.
But there are some consumers, Gargoyle, that just want to be entertained. They don't care what happens in a video. It can be total train wreck. They're not really interested in taking it to the casino to try out. They just want to be entertained. I think you may have said it earlier about just YouTube in general. Like, the videos that get the most views are just people acting like complete asses and just being ridiculous. And
so, are you there to entertain people? Or are you there to actually be real with them?
Jeremy said.
So that's a choice. That's a choice for each channel to take.
Jeremy said it very simply. He's like, the ones that are guaranteed to get the most views in our community of craps is the get-rich-quick schemes, right? You can say you win on every number with an iron cross. People are interested in that because they don't know the game and they think that that's the way that you should play, not knowing that, unless the person has a very high variance of field hits, you're going to be losing your ass in the field for the most part, especially if you're on a double pay 12 table. You're going to be losing long term quite a bit unless you're using that to funnel, and it takes more hits in order to get out of the hand. It might give you less exposure in a very short term, but it's gonna hurt you. But from content absorption, people want to get rich quick, and that's if that's what you want, that's what Jeremy has even said. That's what sells, right? That's what brings in new players. That's what, for whatever reason, gets the most views.
That's why I don't have my own. Again, I don't have my own channel because nobody's gonna watch it.
And I think I'm going to wrap this topic up, and I'm going to put this back up here to Brian from Holy Roller joined us a little while ago, and he basically says nobody should be too big for the basics. Don't forget the basics. Most will not watch if they don't understand the basics, and I think that he makes a very, very valid point there. And even you take like Rick from Let It Roll, who started his Back to the Basics Bubble Craps videos. There's people out there that just want to play electronically, or they want to play table games, but they don't know the basics. I think that it's our job to teach. I teach and entertain at the same time.
And that's a good point, Jeff.
That's it.
Churro actually started doing that as well before he passed. He started regurgitating some of his older stuff because he knew he had a newer audience. And every time every year you're going to have a newer audience of new members and new people who are just coming to the game. That's how I got into it. You guys have been on YouTube for a few years before I even found out about craps, and then jumped on and then started watching some of your guys' videos of beginning craps and how you play and this and that. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll start doing a little bit of that. But then we do have to realize after a while, some of us who have been on for over a year now, yeah, it's time to, and I've started to see it with like Holy Roller. Brian's been doing it. Some other channels have been doing it. Going back to the basics, like, hey, I know there's new people on the channel, and these new people may not have any idea what they're doing, and that's why they're here. So in that respect, Jeff, I know you and I are mainly entertainment, but every once in a while we do go back to being educational.
But it's kind of like what Lauren Big AZ said to me, was that his channel evolved into what it is. My channel evolved into what my channel is, and I'm driven by what my subscribers and viewers want. I occasionally get a video and say, "Hey Jeff, I looked at your channel. You did some dark crap." And it was crap too, because in the beginning it was terrible. Way back when, why don't you do more of that? And there is a niche in there for some dark-sided play. Now that I'm wearing the shirt too, Greg. I know he's not here. Look at that, John. I got the big shirt on today. It's got the big thing, but there's a niche in there for dark play. But I'm an entertainer, and that's why I'm hosting the show here. Or at least I think I'm trying to be entertaining. Every once in a while I have a funny. Corey, did you get ready to say something?
Yeah, the one final comment that I had was this past week when we did go to Hollywood, it was the first time that I actually caught a bunch of vitriol about the YouTube community at the live craps table. From the box to the people playing at the table to the pit boss. I was kind of surprised by it. And really? Just a hatred towards the YouTube community at the craps table. That was eye opening.
That was interesting.
What kind of stuff are you hearing? That's interesting.
Yeah, it was mocking.
That might be a positive.
Yeah, no, it was okay though. I mean, but it did make it a bad session. Just like I think Joe turned to us and he's like, guys, let's just go. I mean, it makes no sense. Everyone's shooting bad. These guys are literally like just talking in the middle of our rolls, mocking us, doing all sorts of stuff. It just makes no sense. We're not having.
Are they mocking you guys because you were not shooting well and you were YouTubers? Is that what that?
No. Even before that all happened, even before the bad shooting happened, and they were doing other things to interrupt in between the roll and to. Hey, you're not hitting the back wall, but he did hit the back wall. Hey, you're crossing your hand over the face of the dealer, and he's even nowhere near the dealer. Like they were just like saying it to say it, just to disrupt, and on top of all the other snide comments. But it was it was only one pit boss instigating it. Before then, we had a great time for 2 days. Yes. And it was probably because we won on a bunch of different sessions that happened, came about.
Might have had something to do with it.
Might have had something to do with it.
But what was interesting was the players that were on the table and they were outnumbered by us, but just pick up the dice and throw them. None of just and playing the pass line. And
right down the line.
I don't care if you want to be not believe in it or anything like that. But if you're going to just pick up the dice, shake them, and throw them, and you want me to move my bet, I'm going to move my bet. I'm going to whatever it is to make the shooter happy and make him more confident or her. That's fine. But yeah, when you ask him, he's trying to land the dice right there, and you're on the pass line, and they just it doesn't matter, just throw the dice. So it's just a lot of that, and a negative atmosphere on the table, and it's just we just don't want to play here anymore. That's fine. We picked up and left.
Let's go ahead and move on and get to some an actual craps question here. I'm going to go back to Jim the Professor. I think he's still here with us. This is almost an hour and a half ago. I asked the question, what percentage of session bankroll or bankroll loss is your walk away point for a cold table or a hot table with points that are being hit? And this is back when we were talking about a subject earlier, but I'm going to move from that question into Arnell's question. Will come up here next is, what point do you session bankroll? John, I know you go with what you go with, and it's gone, it's gone. I carry enough, my typical buy-ins now are, 1,000. They used to be 300, then it went to 400, 5, 7, and 1,000. But I don't want to, if it's a bad time, and I'm having a bad time, and it's like we had somebody on last month, the last show last month that was a pit boss, and he said that the table energy and table vibe means everything. And he's talked about how well, if the table's having a good time, it seems like it's because the players are having a good time and making a little bit of money. But, when you think about the comment, let me put that back up there so I can ask the question again. I don't specifically have a stop loss any longer. I have a feeling of when it's time to go. Anybody else want to chime in on this one?
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's I have my bankroll is
yes.
I don't. It's not a percentage of loss. I throw the dice once, I throw it again, and if it's not working on that table, I just walk away, have a cup of coffee, go somewhere else. It's not about what percentage of loss. That's why I don't have built-in recovery and all that stuff. I throw the dice once, I throw it again, and if the table is cold from my toss or something like that, I walk. And you said something about the vibe at the table. I agree with you 100%. That's a story for another video that I will do with Ed probably. But I know for a fact that if there are beautiful women at the table, craps table loves gorgeous women at the table. Anytime there are beautiful women at the table, I am making thousands of dollars, not just from my role, but from others, because everybody's happy at the table and the vibe is happy. As soon as something negative comes in and it puts it down, it's time to go.
Right. Anybody else on the comment here from Jim the Professor?
I absolutely freaking love beautiful women at the table. I don't care about the rest of you guys, but I love beautiful women at the table.
Unless they tap you on the shoulder as you're shooting.
I don't even care then.
That didn't work too well.
I know it
she
didn't
was
work
really
out
beautiful,
too well. I
though.
should have turned my bets off. I thought I could muscle through it, but by God, we should just turn our bets off and let her tap me on the back. They run their finger down your spine like that, and you're like, oh baby, I mean, really and truly, I mean, Gargoyle's right. Beautiful women, they bring a great vibe to the table. They don't have to be all that good looking either. I mean, they can just be, have long fingernails for all I care.
Now, remember, we were talking about stop loss, not women.
Oh, stop loss. What's that? What is a stop loss? What is a stop loss? I don't even know what a stop loss is. 50%. But it's really more of a feeling. It's not a number. It's more of, okay, I don't like what's going on the table. I'm getting off the table.
Yeah, think you guys talked about it, feeling vibe, and I mean, most people, like a lot of people are doing envelope systems now, or whatever their buy-in is maybe they have an additional bullet, whatever it is. But why go to the additional bullet if you've gone from like heavy wins to giving it back, and now you're dipping into your buy-in? You could lead before it gets there. If you're not shooting and feeling well, and you feel that you have an edge when you're shooting well at the table, why give up your edge? Go take a break, just like folks said, and it could be an hour thing. If you're 5 hours into a session, you probably need to go take a break. Doesn't matter how well you're shooting, because there will be diminishing returns at some point.
Doesn't last forever.
It's ironic that we hear a dog bark because Clay put up there, what about dogs at the table? I literally, this past week, literally had a small, hairy dog that I couldn't tell you what it was, literally hump my leg while I was standing at the table. Literally humping my leg.
And her owner was not a beautiful woman.
Was that the cooler? They brought in the cooler? The dog humping your leg?
No, but she put me up for a bet, and then when it won, she took her initial bet back and gave me the profit. I thought that was payment for the dog humping my leg. I don't know.
You sure that was a Clay?
Weird. That was
Hey,
weird.
I hit a 6-point fire bet when I had a guy humping my leg, so I don't want to hear it.
Well,
shit.
Sounds like
if it takes a guy to
maybe
hump your
humping
leg,
legs is a better strategy.
yeah, if it takes a guy to hump your leg to hit a 5-point fire bet, we're gonna go get him every time while we're on the table with you.
Maybe. Scratch that.
Oh, let's go on. My eyes are watering. I can't even see the screen at the moment. And anybody else want to take something with a stop loss before we move on to Arnell's question that he just asked? Nobody? All right, we'll hit this next one up here. Why would you guys rather would you guys rather take max odds on the line or come bets? Why or why not? We'll let somebody else handle this. That's an experienced player. Anybody want to speak up on the max odds versus 1, 2, 3, or if they offer 10, maybe even I don't know anybody bet 100 times odds. I did hear a story about that. But anybody?
I'll just say briefly, none. I'd rather place bet and get it in and out of the hand whenever I want to than be stuck at a contract bet. A come bet every once in a while is good as a very small hedge, but it ends up getting you stuck. So I'm not a big fan of come bets, period.
All right. Anybody else?
I'm a place
I think
better.
part of the question was it not pass line odds as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I only go one or two usually, or even place my odds up top, because most don't allow you to go past 5. So if you're placing it up top, you get paid the same.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do, talking about, I don't do many come bets, but if I do, it's not very high odds. And then, but I am known to push the envelope a little bit on pass line odds.
If you're not
I'm a place
maxing,
better.
if you're not maxing up your odds, on the pass line, I don't play come bets, but on the pass line, if you're not maxing up your odds, you are leaving money at the table. The odds on the pass line are the best odds at the craps table.
I agree.
So I'm a place better, but I'll once my bets get high enough, I'll put. But the difference is I'm playing at 20x or 100x odds. So if I'm playing at a $10 table and I can put a $10 flat bet and $200 on it, then that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to get paid better, especially on the outside numbers. So, but outside of that, I'm keeping the line free for the shooter.
Well, I think that's where everybody gets confused, right? Because are you talking about you as a shooter, or are you talking about every other swinging dick at the table? And that's where everybody gets confused, because if you're betting max odds on a swinging dick at the table, then you're pretty damn stupid. But if you're betting it on yourself or another known shooter that you have extreme confidence in, then you need to max your odds up on your pass line bet. You can move a pass line out of the way. You can move a pass line out of the way. I don't care how many times a dealer moves your pass line bet. You can move it back out of the freaking way because it's your bet, right? I mean, you can move your pass line bet out of the way anytime you want to. You can place the pass line bet any freaking where on the damn table you want to, as long as it's on the pass line.
Right.
Dealer can grab it and move it back, and you can move it and move it back out of the way. That's up to you. It's your bet. You can place it on the table, and they can't make you change it. They can try to make you change it, but you can always move it back. But if you're, most of the times you don't bet the pass line, or you shouldn't bet the pass line on other shooters, right? That's the whole idea. That's what Corey's saying, I think, is that you don't really want to keep your pass line in a shooter's way. If you're a blocker, everybody's got a role on a table. And if you're shooting as a team versus if you're shooting with randoms or a bunch of idiots, they're going to place pass lines wherever your damn landing zone is. But if you're playing as a team, you got assigned blockers on this end, you got assigned blockers on that end, and they're not playing the pass line. They're keeping your landing zone free. That's a totally different situation. I think if you're the shooter, you want to take as much odds on that bet as you can. Just like Bankroll said, it's the best bet on the table. If you can hit a 6 once, can't you hit it twice? You can bet 250 or 300, or if you got a $30 pass line, why don't you bet it at $300 odds? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you bet $300 odds on a $30 pass line versus a $90 6? I mean, why wouldn't you do that? You're talking 6 and 8. Why wouldn't you do that? Can't you hit a 6 twice? Hopefully. That's the whole idea.
Anybody else with any comments about this topic?
Well, I believe that the thing is that it was the come versus. If you want to put the question up again, it was would you rather take maximum odds on the line, or which means versus the comeback. So
I think he was. I thought he was combining the two as one.
I'm sorry.
I thought he was combining the two as one bet. That's how I read that.
Okay, well, I did it.
Pass line or come, same thing.
Okay, I'm reading it differently. I'm reading a pass line versus a comeback, and which one would you prefer to put your maxing your odds on? And in that case, I'm 1,000% behind Ed on that, because you're even though the odds are still true free odds no matter what. It's there's an argument to that, but you still, having that 6 or whatever you're locked into on that point, on that pass line, there's no reason, unless you don't have the bankroll, that's the only thing that I can think of that, why I don't want to do maximum odds on a pass line. It's the bankroll issue.
It's a purely bankroll decision. If you're the way you should play it, $10 table, $10 bet, $50 in odds, right? You're gonna max out your odds. But if you're not going to go out there, well, the thing is, if you weren't going to go out there with a $60 8 to start with because it was too much money, then you shouldn't be playing pass line and max odds, because you have to go max odds to make that bet worth it. That's what everybody's saying. They're 100% right. Now, there is a point in time on a 10-20x table where if you were going to press your 6 to 180, you may as well do a put bet of $10 and 20x odds on it, because you're going to get paid better. At that point, I would flip my logic a little bit and get the extra $6, $7, $8, because that does add up over time. But if you're doing pass line and come betting for the purpose of taking odds, you got to take max odds. Otherwise, you're lowering the house edge, but you're kind of losing the advantage that they're giving you there. So take the advantage of it. Lowest possible.
But John, you showed on your show though this past week, right, that waiting to put the odds actually saved you because of the PSOs. Although you missed on some rolls, you actually gain more over time by doing that one pause to put the odds to land the
That's
first
right.
come bet.
It's like the sacrificial roll that I do there to get myself out. But once the bets are up, then we go with all the right odds. And that's the thing. Once if you're going to play that way, you got to get the odds out there. To me, it's like the rhythm of that style of play to me is tough. When you go pass line, max odds, 7 out, you're screwed. So to me, it's pass line, come, then the odds go out. At that point, I feel like it's time. I know that it hurts me sometimes, but you got to go out there and drop the odds.
I just want to point out that the 3-point Johnny is basically a 3 count. I don't mean to bring up old topics, but
well, not really, because you are placing bets. I mean, it's not really a 3 count because you are placing bets during that time. You're just kind of surviving until they're all ready to go, and then you can hammer the odds. And it works. That thing is won every single day. The one day it didn't work, that was the day that I tried something stupid and misplayed it. But otherwise, it's undefeated. And I'm like, okay,
did something
it's
stupid
boring
on
as
your
hell,
show,
and I don't
John?
like it. But
Again,
all the time.
Let Ed get back in there. Go ahead, Ed.
I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to one thing. You guys are assuming that everybody bets the same way on every flipping stupid idiot at the damn table all the freaking time, and that's the stupid way to bet.
Yeah.
It may be a stupid way to bet, but
if I'm betting on myself, only on myself or another known shooter that I trust, I'm going to go pretty high odds on the pass line because you know what? I got to have a pass line in order to shoot the freaking dice, right? I got to have a pass line. If I ain't shooting, I ain't got to have a pass line, right? Nobody understands that bullshit because everybody does all these freaking videos. But anyway, you got to have a pass line to shoot. If you're not shooting, you don't have to have a pass line. All right. So if I'm shooting the dice myself, I'm going to go high on the odds. If I hadn't hit that point in 3 throws, I'm regressing my odds. You can do that. You can pick up your odds. You can go from 300 to 100 on that 6 or 8, and then you hit it, right? But I mean, it happens every time. But I mean, it's still a smart play. If you haven't hit your point in 3 throws, regress your odds, right? Regress your odds. That's you can't play everybody at the table the same way as a shooter plays himself. That's the shooter mentality. And there's very few people out there that are really actual shooters in this world.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
There's very few people. And if you're betting them all the same way, you're going to lose money.
I didn't read the question that way, though. I did not interpret the question.
I'm not answering the question. I'm responding to the dumbasses that are talking on this video.
Okay. But we do recognize that there are and we agree with you, Ed, that there are differences. There's major differences between a random roller and someone that can actually do something, and that is trying to do something, and we can tell that, or we should have enough experience to tell the difference, and to bet intelligently, and to not waste our money. So I mean that's part of the experience. And the knowledge and the discipline that just comes with experience, and so we recognize that, Ed. And I believe that heartedly that I'm not going to waste underscore. I'm not going to waste my money like that because I'm smart enough to know better. So I agree with you 1,000%, sir.
But the people that are watching this are inexperienced. And they think, there's people out there that think you still got to have a pass line to play craps. And you don't.
No, you don't.
Right?
You can bypass the come out roll. Right.
You ain't got to have a damn pass line. Who the hell? I'd never bet a pass line on anybody but myself most of the time, unless it's required, unless I want to place an ATS bet.
You don't have to, but there's nothing wrong with doing it, right? If you want to play that way.
There's nothing wrong with doing it, but you don't have to. But most people walk up to the table and they plop their damn money down on that pass line bet because they think they got to, and you don't have to.
Yep. And you're making my
and
point about
nobody
crapless
out there
thinking.
in the world is telling them you ain't gotta put that craps bet down there.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta put that bet in my damn way down there in the corner.
Right, and part of that is the dealers when a new player that is completely inexperienced comes up to the table, and I want to learn how to play, and that's how they get you into that mentality. Is they don't cover every single detail of that. They say, when you're the shooter, and then but they don't listen to that. They don't when you're the shooter. That means that when you're the shooter, that doesn't mean that every single time you have to have a pass line bet, but when you're demonstrating of how to do something, they're not super clear on that. They're there just to do broad general strokes, and that's what gets people in trouble, is that they lack in knowledge, and that's part of it.
But I think, and let me ask you this question, both of you guys, or actually everybody here. When I teach somebody new, and the dealers do this too, like you're saying, Dylan, they always have them on the pass line first. And I think that's one of the best ways to teach the game to a brand new person, because it's a low volatility way to play, number one. Low house edge, number two. But more importantly, it's a way to understand what the hell's going on. And you're kind of, okay, that number matters to me, whatever the point was, and the 7 matters to me. Everything else I can ignore for a little while. And they can watch the game go. And it's a way to kind of ease into it, which is a great way to learn the game. Now, most people, when they have learned that, either decide, I don't like playing this way, I would like to choose my bet and be part of the game, or I'm okay with this way of playing and let the dice just kind of figure it out for me. I think it's a great way to learn, frankly. And I don't begrudge the dealers and the casinos for showing that. As I used to get kind of like, oh man, they're showing them, this way to play that's maybe not the most profitable, but it is a way to kind of ease in and get your brain wrapped around what's going on. And I think the spirit of the
100%.
question Arnell answered.
Well,
why is that? For a brand new player,
they have
for
the
a brand new
advantage on the
person.
come out roll, with the 7. So
Right,
beyond
but
that,
you're getting-
it's
you gotta-
just dead money.
Hold on. Wind that back. Brand new, first time ever player. You can't be talking about double advantages and mathematics. It's like, let me show you what's going on.
No, I'm just saying that it's an advantage.
You know
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
only benefit of the pass line. I mean, it helps
It's a big
with the
advantage.
hedge of the
It's a big
ATS, but there's
advantage.
other ways to hedge it. Yeah.
It's a very big advantage, though. If you actually run the pass line with odds,
it's a huge
and skipping a roll and just.
But you
placing
don't
a
even
number
need
after
odds.
that.
Just put a decent flat out there. Who gives a shit about odds?
You know what?
Yeah, but
Throw a
casinos have a
$25
with
bet
you.
out there if you wanted to put a $10
The
bet
flat
and then
bet,
put 15. Who cares?
A $10 flat bet will outperform a place bet of the same value if you weight the roll. If you pretend it's a come bet and just say, here's a $10 come bet, let it go to the 6, and then the person then places the 6 for $12. That come bet flat without odds will outperform that bet. 100%.
But John, they will never.
That's
The
the bet.
casino will never. The casino will never tell you to make a place bet. They
I
will
know.
tell you to play the pass line, and then when you
And
don't
here's
have
the
odds,
other thing that
you
no
don't
one
have
said.
odds, they'll
said-
tell you where are your odds. Don't forget your odds. And they're like, oh.
Well,
okay,
here's
I
the
gotta
thing
have
that
odds.
none of them tell you, right? And like some people coming into the game, it matters. They're not going to give you. They're giving you 0 on your odds. You get absolutely no credit from a comp perspective on your odds. So if you're going over
that's a
there and putting
different story.
$300 when you could put
That's a whole
300 up
different
top,
thing.
and it pays you
Yeah.
the same thing, and it's times 5, you're
Right.
losing money, and people
Okay,
have
but
no
Alfredo,
idea that this is
you're
happening.
not talking about comps on a beginning.
Oh, I'm
player
talking
coming up
about
to-
comps
I'm talking
because it
about-
matters. It matters.
You're not
I mean,
talking
if
about
you're-
comps. Alfredo, you're not talking
talking
about
about-
comps on a player who's walking up to the table for the first time. We're talking about you're putting a pass line out there, but that's what the casinos dealers are telling you to do. And they're also
We're
telling you
talking
to
about
put
the odds,
out
right?
there.
And how the
They're
odds
not
play.
discussing
So I'm
comps
telling
with
you.
you at the table.
They
It makes
pay
a
you.
difference.
You as an
they pay
experienced
you-
player-
Do they pay any comes on that flat bet? Do they play any odds on that flat bet on that pass line?
I'm sorry,
You
what's-
get comps on the flat bet. You don't get comps
Very
on the
little.
odds.
Very little. You're paying a $25 pass line bet. How much you get? Not freaking much, right?
My point is, you're an
It boils
experienced
down.
player.
It boils down to what my buddy over here on stage right saying. Are you there to win money? Or are you there to play for comps? I'm always there to win money. Screw the freaking comps. If I'm winning money, I'm getting comps.
Well, yeah, unless if it's over 5 times, I've already said it, right? If it's over 5 times and that's the style play you want to play, go ahead and put it on the pass line. It makes more sense. You're going to make more money. But if it's 5 times, 3 times, 4 times odds, you're not going to make any more money on the pass line than you're going to make putting it on the place bet, and you're going to get credit on the place bet.
You're better off not placing a pass line bet. I agree 100% with you. But you still got to place that freaking pass line bet if you're a shooter.
If you're shooting,
that's where everybody else in the damn world on the YouTube, because it's freaking stupid. How many people act like they're going to bet that same way on every swinging dick at the damn table? Because if you're not a shooter, don't do it. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not gonna bet 96 across. You're not gonna bet. It's stupid. It's stupid to bet 110 inside on everybody on the table. It's
Ed,
stupid.
you said it earlier.
You're gonna lose money.
Ed, you said it earlier. More and more people that don't know anything about the game are playing the ATS, and the only way to play the ATS is more casinos are making you play a pass line in order to play the ATS.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's one of the big reasons why you're seeing more people play the pass line when they really shouldn't. It's because they want to play that ATS.
But they don't know how to bet.
Also,
they don't.
Stupid. ATS is dumber.
I know John doesn't like the ATS, so he's got to remain silent.
Hold on one second.
Dumbest fucking bet in the casino.
John can't talk during the ATS segment.
I can talk.
John can't talk.
3 ATS hits last week.
John's got to remain silent. Somebody
hang
on,
on,
guys.
Last week.
Hold on. I don't want to have to mute anybody. I don't want to. Hold on. Gargoyle's had his hand up for a few minutes, and we might have already bypassed what he wanted to talk about. So go ahead, Gargoyle.
Now, I just wanted to say, what we're talking about here is exactly the type of content that needs to be out on YouTube channels.
Exactly.
Because that's informative information right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I was talking about a while ago when I said, and a lot of the 2%ers are on these channels here, and they're the ones who need to be out there talking about this kind of stuff to kind of, warn people about all the snake oil salesmen on all the 98% of the YouTube channels. So right. I just wanted to say that's the kind of content that people, need to hear. And somebody's mentioning something about comps. If you're trying to get comps out of craps, unless you're betting $100 on the pass line, $500 odds, and $1,600 across on every shooter, you might as well go play slots because you're not going to get comps out of craps. And the reason why I know that is because when I'm shooting the dice, I have $100 on the pass line, $500 on odds, 1,600 across, and 222 or 100 on the ATS. But as soon as it goes to the next shooter, immediately I only have $12.06, so that I can make sure I get the dice again. That's if there are other people. And guess what that does to my comps? All the way down, because as soon as the pit boss sees that, my comps are gone. So if you're looking for comps, it's not a craps table. You need to take $100, $200, go play $5 slot machine, and before you know it, you start getting comps. That's how we need to do a whole session on how to get comps, because I can tell you 10 ways where you can immediately start getting free rooms all over Vegas.
Give your wife your player's card and let her go play slots.
I haven't paid for a room, meal, or anything in Vegas in 12 years. Everything has been comped, and it's not because of my craps play. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are ways on how to get comps. We should do a session on how to get comps at the casino. But anyway, thanks for letting me.
Sure, no problem.
I want to say one last thing about ATS. They were saying that there's one thing that you got to remember that the casinos are doing. Is they want action so that to balance out the ATS. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So you don't have to have just a pass line bet. They just want the action, of a certain amount of money in action. So there's other ways to do it. You can do a lay bet or whatever, and that will also count as part of to cover your ATS. So you're not. I want to get away for. I want to make sure that people understand that you don't have to just bet the pass line. There's other options out there.
They're requiring, at least our locals now are requiring consistent action equivalent to your ATS bet. So if you've got 555, smallest possible example, you got it at $15 all the time, every time. If Gargo is playing 2-1-2, he has got a $500 in other action all the time. Otherwise, they'll pull the ATS bet down. They will pull those bets down now. That's what we're seeing with that bet. So you got to maintain consistent action to cover it.
Yeah, I got no problem with consistent action.
Equivalent action, yeah. Which is kind of bullshit.
Saying it doesn't have to be.
That's kind of crappy.
It doesn't have to be
any
the pass line.
It could be any bet. It could be any bet.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that's clear because that was not clear. You know, I'm just making sure that is crystal clear.
Now, now some casinos, I know my locals are doing this, not the one we're going to go to this weekend, but other ones nearby require pass line bets or don't pass bets on every single shooter, or at very least the shooter in front of you. Place bets don't count. If you're just place betting and you're not on the pass line and the dice come to you, they will skip you. So they're requiring that's becoming more the norm than unfortunate, you know. But we're seeing that a lot too. So you got to know how to play that if you're gonna be stuck in that world. Either you're gonna drop the minimum bet on the pass line and count that as a donation, or you got to play the pass line right. Either way,
but that's saying my don't pass when you're shooting in front of me.
What are you gonna do, right?
But it's only the shooter that's before you.
Now it is. It's coming. You know, if once that gets accepted, you know what's coming next. It's going to be the whole table. It's going to be like the ante. They're going to make that the ante pretty soon. They're going to have that and only crap lists, and that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be ante.
We're going to come out with the Antichrist strategy, John.
My God, somebody help me out. I mean, that's where the casinos they're predators, and that's where it's heading. You're going to have to ante up on the pass line or don't pass for every single shooter, every single time. That's where it's headed. And you're going to be stuck with it, and it's going to be.
They're already starting to do that because they're already starting to make you have minimum table action on every shooter.
They are and
especially again, if you want to have the dice.
It's going to be crapless only, pass line required. That's what's going to end up being the new thing. Now you're stuck on the pass line, every single shooter on the crapless table. That's what's headed our way. Let's have this conversation.
Already here. There's several casinos that already require it. Several casinos require if you're going to do the ATS, you have to have a pass line. Even if you have a come out 7, you have to bring it back.
Yeah, but we're talking about every single
every bet all the time. You're within a year, you're going to see. I think every shooter you have to have a pass line or don't pass bet on every single shooter.
Probably Oklahoma is probably going to be the first one.
Well, they're doing the ante right now.
As soon as you have As soon as you have action. Yeah. As soon as you have action.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen. And they're going to, and because crapless is becoming so popular, you're going to be doing that shit on a crapless table where all you have to be the pass line, table minimum pass line on every person at the table. Otherwise you can't shoot. That's where it's headed because we're allowing it to go there for one. But the casino, the bean counters got to figure it out.
I think you're 100% wrong.
I hope I am wrong, Ed. God, I hope I'm wrong.
I think you are wrong.
That's where I think it's coming.
Especially on the crapless, since you don't ever play it.
Well, I've been right about everything so far with what I've seen.
I ain't seen you right about a goddamn thing yet, so I'll keep watching. I'm waiting.
You watch.
All right.
Crapless is taking over. I'm telling you, let's do it in a year. But that's what's going to happen, and that's unfortunate.
No, it ain't going to happen.
World.
I think that we're
going to bet the ATS. You got to have a pass line bet. That's the norm. I get it, but you don't ever play crapless, so don't tell me how about crapless because you don't play it.
I won't play it. I won't play it. I
know you won't because you're scared to play it.
Yeah, well, you
have
a choice.
I'm not going to feed the beast. I'm not going to tell the bean counters they're right. They fucked us on that game, just like they fucked us on
I love telling the bean counters they're right. I love telling the bean counters they're right. When I roll 5 12s in one hand, I love telling them they're right because their chips are going in my rack, dude.
They're screwing everybody else up, and that's the thing. That
I ain't worried about everybody else. I'm only worried about the guy who's shooting.
You were worried about everybody else 10 minutes ago. We were talking about our channels having to be telling the truth. You're worried about everybody else.
You're worried about You're worried about everybody else and trying to teach them how to play craps on something that they shouldn't be doing. That's what you're doing. You're teaching them how to play craps how they shouldn't be playing on everybody at the table by betting the same way on everybody on the same way.
I'm showing them what happens when they do. I'm showing them what happens when they do.
When you got a shooter, you got a gargoyle at the table. You want to play it correctly, John.
Okay.
You can't.
I'm not
play
disputing
it.
that.
You can't play it like somebody's just random throwing the dice all the time.
That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about crap.
No, but that's what you said. And that's what you teach. That's what you said. And that's what you show.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, that's what this show's about. Great debate. I got a text from somebody that's
not
that's
even
watching
what I show,
the show
but that's
today.
okay.
Yeah, hang on. I got a text from somebody that we all know that just said that, that's a very contentious show tonight. I think it makes for great debate, and I think it shows it. And when we have people like Gargoyle and Ed and Alfredo and Leon that have the opinions that they have, and Corey, who's not a YouTuber, I think it makes for a great debate because somebody that's new to the game is watching this and can see that we're trying to teach them the right way. And I'm looking the chats come through about the ATS, and I think the whole ATS thing probably should be investigated, whether it's required line bet, not a required line bet. I just put somebody just said up here that they were, I think Rick said it, they were required to put a dollar ante up just to be able to play, craps. And that part I think is going to ruin the game. But I think in major metropolitan areas outside of tribal casinos, I don't think that will become the norm. It must be in the northwest where you are, John. But I think that the comp issue, the ATS issue is probably something we could talk about. I want to get to one more question tonight before we end the show, but I don't want to have any hard feelings with anybody in here because I'm getting text messages from people that are talking about the chat tonight and the way that we're talking on here. I think is great debate, and I want to point that out that we're having really good debate. So with that, let's go ahead and move on over to this question here.
Can I say I love John Kakos real quick? Can I just say that real quick so everybody who quit?
I love me some Ed Robinson. Oh my
Ed
God,
Robinson, not Robinson. It's R-O. It's just Robinson. Thank you. Can't pronounce my freaking name right.
You gotta pronounce my name right, man. Come on now.
I mean, I love John.
Yeah,
I mean, John's an idiot, but I still love him.
Get a room, guys. Get a room. Get a room. All right, let's go on. Let's go on with this. Do you guys use Bone Tracker when practicing? Are your routines like? What are your routines like, and what do you look for when you're practicing? That's a multifaceted question, and I can tell you that every one of our YouTube people that are on here, including some that are not, we've talked about Bone Tracker recently, and I will let you know that Ed did a very good series, Roll to Win, and Ed and I talked about Bone Tracker. We're going to have another session coming up in a few weeks, hopefully, on that. But let's just go around and poll the audience on who has used Bone Tracker, or the panel, who has used Bone Tracker and who has not. I have. So, Dylan, have you used it?
No, I don't use it.
All right, John, I know you dabble with it.
I'm not against it. I just don't use it.
All right, John?
I've dabbled with it. I'm not the professional that Ed is with it or the other guys. I use it, but I don't use it to its full extent.
All right, and the rest of that question, what you do for practice, I think it's a two-part question. Gargoyle, I know you're familiar with Bone Tracker. Do you use it?
No, I don't use it, but I do recommend it for everyone if they're not quick to adjust to know what the dice is doing and what different set to use. I've been doing this for a long time. I know how to immediately in my head do the sets. But if you're new and you want to know what your dice is doing, I highly recommend it.
All right. Let's go down to the bottom. Leon, I'm going to work my way up. The Brady Bunch.
No, I don't. I'm not into the DI controlled shooting practice yet. But if I ever get to that point, I will use it. Yeah.
All right. Craig?
No, I don't have that kind of time yet.
All right, Corey.
Yeah. Learning curve there.
Yep. Corey?
I just got it. I have not used it yet. I'm still logging rolls, and I'm logging rolls with the same dice set when I practice. I've put a focus into figuring out what my dice are doing live on the table without having to go to Bone Tracker. So I'm self-using my own reading of the dice, but I'm going to also use Bone Tracker going forward. I
will say, Corey, that I used Bone Tracker early on before my channel even started. but I didn't download the latest version of it. And when I was working with Ed on the show we did month before last, and then the last show that we did, he showed me aspects that's in Bone Tracker that I didn't know, so I had to update my version of it, and I copied my rolls over, and I started taking my rolls through the KPI roll tracker that I use online, and I put them over there, and that's why I'm trying to throw almost the exact set almost the entire show, but it doesn't always work out to be that way. So Alfredo, your Bone Tracker KPI, are you intermixing the two?
Yeah, I use both, but I don't use Bone Tracker every week. Like I might use it once a quarter just to make sure that the face turns are about the same. And what Gargoyle said, I'm using what I see on the table to modify what I need to modify it to. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong.
Ed, I know you use Bone Tracker. I know that you're very good friends with the creators of Bone Tracker. You have an inside to the Bone Tracker from a newbie, from somebody new, got a table at home, they're practicing. I know you're going to say you recommend using it, but a little bit about Bone Tracker, what you think to the question. And the question was, what do you guys feel about Bone Tracker when you practice? That's the first part of the question.
Yes, I use it when I practice. What's the next question? Because the answer is, it says either a yes or no. Do you use it? Yes or no,
Yep.
I use it.
Yep. And what are your routines like? And what do you do to look for when you're
Well,
practicing?
that
question
look,
is Bone Tracker.
You've got to. It's like you've got to use the same set every time, or the output is ridiculous and doesn't count. I get emails all the time. Do I got to use the same set? Yeah. Otherwise, it's just stupidity multiplied by stupidity. You're either using the same set, or you put it's garbage in, garbage out. If you're not using the same set, so why bother if you're not going to use the same set? So you use the same set. You try to emulate the same toss. You got to use the same toss that you're going to use, the same mechanics. It doesn't matter your skill level. It doesn't matter your skill level. You can do it with a stack toss. John would benefit greatly by using it if he would spend the time to do it with his so-called chopper toss, right? So would Cage. My God, Cage would make a fortune if I could just ever convince him to just, use the toss that's giving him at any given time. So once you understand what Bone Tracker does, and if you understand that Bone Tracker doesn't look forward, it only looks backward. We all know that. But if you throw 720 tosses, or you throw 1,440 tosses, and you've got some set that gives you an SSR of 9 instead of 5, why wouldn't you be better off trying to, verify that set that gives you an SRR of 9? Why wouldn't that be a better thing to do? But people, again, it boils down to people don't. Everybody around here, everybody up here. Well, I hadn't had the time. I don't quite use it like it's supposed to. Everybody on this whole thing says, well, I got it, but I don't use it, or I don't have the time, or this. If you don't have the time, then you're a random thrower. So why even bother to download it?
All right. Not quite the response I expected, but most of it was about right. So
I was nice. Nice.
No, you were. No, you were. I just think that I'm going back. We had a question here in myopia. I deleted your question and brought it back up here. It was about dice control. We are closing in on this, the 14th episode of season 2. I'm going to put the question up. We're going to go around real quick and get everybody's thoughts on this question. It goes back almost to the beginning of the show. Yes, it's about dice control. It seems like we always have a question each and every week about dice control. Guys, what are your thoughts about dice control? I think earlier on today's episode of Tales from the Table, I liked the way that Cage worded dice control versus controlling the dice, having some control over the dice. I didn't believe in it since I've worked with people. I now believe in it. I just wish I could get better at it, and that's the reason why this table's behind me. And I practice not as much as I should, as I just said. I'm making excuses, but that's That's it. So let's go around the panels. Dylan, your thoughts on dice control? 30 seconds, go.
Yeah, I believe in dice influence, and that's I do it. I practice it when I can practice it. So I'm a I do believe in it, and I believe it has its place. I do believe that it can be I call it a placebo effect, so that it can have a good it can help generate a good energy thing that you can build on a starting good foundation, and you can generate good vibes from it. So it's everything takes practice and work and hard work. So if you want to be consistent at it, and it's always a work in progress. So, but I do believe in it.
All right, John.
Boy, what a loaded question, right? I believe it's worth working on. Let's put it that way. Like, I am not there, right? I've tried it. I've tried it. I've logged more live rolls than all y'all put together on YouTube, guaranteed, right? And you've seen me up and down on that thing. You've seen me move the needle in some pretty key statistics with it, which I'm pretty proud of. But am I ready to do what Ed says and bet on myself, or what Gargoyle says and bet on myself yet? No, I'm not there yet. I'm not consistent enough. I've seen my slow motion. I'll show anybody my slow motion videos. Most of them are train wrecks, but there are a few in there that are like absolute perfection. And they give me enough hope to say it's worth trying. I've seen perfection. I know it's possible. I also know that I can't do it on the regular. So that just tells me to work harder. So, and like Dylan says, at this point for me, I am random. I accept that until I get better. But the rhythm of it, the get them, the set them, the stack them, the grip them, the breath and the thing, it's like a baseball player going through his motions, or a golfer with the waggle. You kind of get yourself in your thing, and all that's good. At some point, the flight, landing, and all that will come in, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I like doing it. To me, it's so cathartic to set the dice and breathe and throw. I can't imagine not doing it now, right? I love how Cage put it. Controlled tossing versus dice control.
That was it.
Dice control to me feels like you got the puppet master, right? You can I'm going to throw a 4-2-6 and do it. No, that's not what anybody's, I think, claiming to do. I think that it's, controlling what happens. They will spin X times in the air. They will bounce, and stop every single time in the same way. That's controlled shooting. And if that results in something great, then I'm happy to be a part of it. That's my feelings on it.
Let me go to Gargoyle next. You can unmute yourself, and I'm going to put your comment that you have up here, and maybe you can give us your. Oops, I did that wrong. Put that up here again. Here we go. There we go. You actually said it, Gargoyle, but why do you say you wish people would quit calling it dice control? Let's explain yourself a bit.
Well, because you can't control the dice. Once it leaves your hand, there are so many variables hitting the table. That's why you have the pyramids at the end, because all that affects it. So you can only control to the point where it leaves your fingers. So it's called dice influencing. Your toss, your grip, everything you're doing, you're trying to influence the dice to do something that you would like it to do. Not trying to hit a certain number, but you want to hit your point on the table, soft hit to the back wall, soft landing. Try not to cause a lot of splatter. The more dice splatter after the back wall, the more random. You're trying to influence a certain toss. If people say, yeah, they can control the dice, then why aren't they owning their own island and living on yachts and stuff like that? Because if I can control the dice, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. All right. Let's go over Alfredo. I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be, but give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, right? It's not there. No one can control the dice, right? It's influencing in pockets, and when you get in those pockets, you understand what to do from a betting perspective. You're seeing the same number of combinations come up. You're seeing the same numbers come up. And if you can take advantage of that while you have that small advantage, because there's a lot of times when you don't, right? You are just random many of the other times. But when you can be proper with what mechanics are there, what inputs you have outside of the wall and the table when it hits, then you can take advantage of those trends, as we've talked about before. And it takes practice. So you can't just assume that you're going to go into the casino and without putting in the time. So if you do, take advantage of yourself or others that put in the time.
Leon, looks like you want to say something. I was going to come to you last because I think I already know that. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wonder if golfers call themselves golf ball influencers.
Say that again.
Yeah, this is. I wonder if golfers call themselves golf ball influencers, because that's about as close as you can get as an analogy to it. It's possible. I think.
We've lost your audio, Leon. We've lost your audio. There you go.
Those
Say that again.
Consistently is even smaller. So I think
his headset's getting ready to go
I don't
up.
believe it's anything at all, but I think we beat this time.
All right. Yeah, I think I know where you're getting ready to go with that, Leon. Sorry, you were messing up there, and let me go. I'm saving Ed for last. So, Craig, you have become very proficient with your practice. How do you think it's affecting your game?
I have, but I will only fully believe in DI if the casinos will allow me to come to the casino and throw some practice tosses before I actually buy in. That'll help me. Otherwise, you're throwing on a table that's different than the casino. You know, you're practicing at your own table. Your own table is not the same as the casino. I know some of you have bought tables that mimic pretty close to your casino, and that's probably in your advantage. But the majority of us don't have tables even remotely close to what we actually go to the casino and play on. So again, if a casino would allow me to come and do some practice throwing before I actually buy in, that would help.
So what's stopping you from doing practice throwing?
Nothing's stopping me from doing practice throwing. But
what's stopping you from going to the table, putting $5 on the pass line and nothing else, and throw?
No, and I have started doing more of that. I've actually started. You're absolutely right.
So because that's the first thing I do when I used to go to the casinos. The first day, I would go and they would all come to me and says, "Let me." And as soon as they see the $5 chip on the pass line, they say, "Let me guess." They call me by my name. You just got in from the airport, and I'm like, "Yeah," because the first day, all I'm doing is putting a $5 pass line and throwing.
Yeah, the only thing keep me from putting a $5 pass line is $15 table.
Oh yeah. I'm there in the middle of the week where usually there's $5. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're absolutely right.
All right, let's go over to Corey. Corey, your thoughts? Mute yourself.
You're on
please.
mute, Corey.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond to Craig real quick. There is go on a cruise. You can bring your own dice. You can't use their dice, but you can bring your own dice and throw on their table before they open it. If you want to get your practice.
That's awesome.
Yes, I got my own casino craps table and have just put in an immense amount of practice in the effort to, again, influence wherever I can. I have seen it pay off in my own roles. The consistency of quality roles, and also being able to see when I do get into a pocket of things I'm looking for, then being able to bet that pocket. That's been the most important thing, because that's where I can make money. Just yesterday, for example, I set a point of 8. I hit the tall with a 9, which had just followed a 5, and I just turned to my buddy and I said, we're betting the 9 high hard if it hits again. 2 rolls later, I rolled a 9, and I continued to roll 5 more in the next 8 rolls. So that's an example of how you can take advantage of the pocket when you see it and see what your dice are doing, recognize it, and hit it hard.
Okay. All right. So I saved Ed for last on this one. Ed, I know what you've said many times to me about the controlled dice influencing, whatever you want to call it. What say you?
Well, number one, there's no such thing as dice control. You've heard me say that. I mean, nobody can call a shot. All you can do is play the probabilities of your normal shot versus what, do you expect that number or not? Or do you expect this area of numbers? Or, maybe your shot's off and you're hitting 9s instead of 5s, like just Corey just said. Corey took advantage of what he recognized. That's influence in advance in a way. Louis Grizzard, a famous Southern writer who's now dead and gone, once was asked if he believed in children's baptism. And he said, not only do I believe in it, I've seen it. So, not only do I believe in dice influence, I've seen it. Now, I don't care whether anybody else believes it or not. I really could care less. People can influence the dice. I've seen people need a 2 and a 12, change their dice set, hit a 2, change their dice set, hit a 12, and hit the ATS. Is that influence or is that control or what is it? I don't know. Maybe it's just freaking luck, but I think it's an advantage. So the whole idea behind dice influence is trying to give yourself an advantage on the table on a negative expectation game. So if you have any positive expectation that you can generate to negate a negative expectation, then you're generating, the possibility of making some money on the table. Most rolls are not going to go 25 rolls. They're not going to go 20 rolls. Most rolls are going to go 7, 8, 9 rolls. So then it becomes, what do you do with that extra 2 or 3 rolls that you earned for yourself when you throw those dice? And I'm not talking about everybody else at the table, which everybody on YouTube is talking about. I'm talking about somebody who is a practice shooter. If they're gaining an extra 2 or 3 rolls, then they're gaining on the house. Now, if you're throwing a lot of horn numbers, you better be, you either got to be brave or at least play in the field, right? But there's something happening with the toss that's causing numbers to, repeat, whether it's a horn number or whether it's an 8 or whether it's a 4. You've got to be able to recognize that and take advantage of it as a shooter, because your toss, if you're doing the same mechanics on a different table than your own table, just like, my buddy Old Spice up there is talking about, you're not shooting, you're shooting on you're on your home putting green and then you go somewhere else. Well, if everything's the same except you're getting different numbers, are you smart enough to recognize you need to be betting those other numbers? That's where the influence is at, in my opinion. You got to be able to take it, what you're throwing as a shooter, not what the randoms are doing at the table. And just because a guy is setting the dice, that doesn't make him a dice influencer. Not even freaking close does that make him a dice influencer.
That's me.
All right. There's a lot of things you got to look at when you're watching other people at the table. Are they setting the dice? Yeah. How's their stance? Is their stance the same? Maybe. Is their loft the same? Is their arc the same? Is their landing zone the same? Are they hitting the same spot? And hey, by the way, are they hitting the same numbers? Those are all important things to be looking at on those other guys at the table. But on yourself, you need to know where you're at. And that's why we practice. That's why I practice. I want to know what I expect from my numbers. But I also am willing to accept the fact that I may not get the exact number that I'm expecting. I may be getting 9s instead of 5s, and I'm okay with that because I'm going to bet the 9s instead of the 5s.
All right. Anybody else want to talk about the question, which goes back to what's your thoughts on dice control? I think is what the question was before we move on. It's going on 2 hours and 45 minutes live here on the show. I don't know that we're going to have an after show tonight. I'm not going to be able to stick around for it. So I know there's a couple other people here that want to do some things on another channel, so I don't want to hold them up from doing that. Dylan, excellent show tonight. I want to say that if you noticed, I don't know if you can see your chat or not, but Chris from Sideshow just popped in. You know, he's serving us overseas, and he'll be coming home soon, I hope, 60 days maybe-ish. And hopefully he'll be here. So Chris, please stay safe. But Dylan, what did you think of tonight's show?
Oh, it was great as always. You know, live debate, lively debate, and you can't get any better than that. I mean, that's what we're all here. You know, we're all coming. I really didn't get to put this into. I wanted to put this into words, and I didn't really get a chance to say this. But you know, I look at what we do for our YouTube channels as like all of us learning. And I kind of equate it to music. There's music theory, you know, with craps, there's craps theory. And in music theory, you're learning, you know, certain, you know, different chords, what different chords are, you know, the different basics. There's different basics that you can do. Four different chords, you know, make up, you know, a lot of different songs. And you can have different types of stuff. You can have like jazz, country, all different types of music is there. So that's all of our different niches that we have, so that we can fill, that we become our own, so that we can take the music theory, the basics, and then grow into what we are and what we become. We all have our each individual unique song that we are developing, and we all can be happy and proud of that noise that we are specifically making. And it might be noise to somebody, it might be music to somebody else. You know, not everybody's going to, you know, has that appreciative of every type of genre or whatever. But we all have our unique style and our unique take on stuff. And I wanted to say that I appreciate everyone that takes a stab at this and is willing to learn and come together and grow. And that's what this is all about, is that we all learn and we see a different side of the cube, because we have all of our different unique experiences that we come from. And so that's just what makes this specific part of our community great. So I very much am grateful and appreciate everybody that is here. And I can't express that enough, that this craps channel right here that we're on, Casino Gaming TV, is making strides in ways that has never been done before. And so I so much appreciate John. I so appreciate Jeff and the rest of y'all. You know, without you guys, and we say this all the time, without you guys, we are you know, you guys make the show. So I thank you so much for you know, coming back and giving your 2 cents, and you know, and that we can have a good lively discussion. So I appreciate everybody, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You notice I'm going backwards because I usually do you last, so I did you first. So I'm going to go to John because I want to talk about not only what he has going on this coming weekend, but let's go over, John, the celebration of life for Churro. We don't want to forget him. That's coming up in 2 weeks. So a little rundown, John, on what you know some people are doing heading out to the celebration of life.
Well, I know for sure Corey, I think, is going. I think Jen is going. I'm going. Chris from Chuck and Dice is going. I think a few others have said they may or may not go. Dylan, you're going to go, correct?
I hope so. Okay. I'm going to do my best.
Okay. Well, here's what I know. It's in Lebanon, Missouri. I'm flying into Kansas City. It's a 3-hour drive. No escaping that. It's a long drive from either airport. It's at 4:00 on Saturday, the 23rd. I am collecting videos. So now we still have a bunch of people watching. So if you want to make a short video, any of you, like literally make a selfie, Churro, I love you, I miss you, you meant this, whatever to me, do the videos and contact me over email or Discord. I have a place where you can upload them. I want to get those to Crystal this week if we can to make a montage. Crystal has also said, and I didn't even ask for this, she said, I would love it if you would live stream it. So I can set up I can do a little live stream of the service and I can run around and talk to people with it. She wants that to happen, so we'll do that. And I'm also working this week, probably tomorrow, actually. I'm going to set up the scholarship account. We talked about doing a scholarship for Layla as a group. So there's a website that I can go to that will set up a front end. So a website that backs up to a 529 account. And if you don't know this, if you don't have kids in college, a 529 account is a special savings account that the money that goes into it can only be used by the kid for school. And it stays in that account until the kid's 18 years old. If the kid goes to college, that money, basically you give the college access to the account and the college pulls the money out of the account to pay for tuition all the way through. If the kid doesn't go to college, it just goes into a trust for the kid at 18 years old. So we're going to get that thing started this week. And ahead of the memorial service, we're going to start begging for money. So we would love to, Doracel's idea was to kind of try and shoot for, a few $1,000 to load that account up. And then I'm going to help Crystal while we're there in Missouri to get his YouTube channel, the monetization, which is not much, as you know, have that auto deposit into the 529 account. So his channel's videos will make money and feed the account. We can still put money in that account, and that's what's going to happen for Crystal and Layla. And we'll start some of that next weekend at our meetup here in Seattle. We're going to do a little bit of a fundraiser as part of that. So that's the plan, the immediate next 2 weeks. So I was kind of long-winded, but that's what's going on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead and finish up with next weekend.
Yeah, so next weekend, for those of you who are going to come, we're doing a meetup here in Seattle. We got, I think, about 10 people coming from out of town, maybe 12, and a good 10 or 15 that are from local that are going to just be here as part of our Seattle crew anyway. We got private tables at 2 casinos. We got a dinner planned. We're going to go to the Mariners game on Sunday. We're going to be at my house. So come on over to my house. I'll give you the tour of the studios, and we can go in the garage and practice on the big table. I have my big table set up to exactly match our local casino surface. So if you want to if you're a thrower and you want to practice on it, I'll set that up for you. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. We have a pretty good set of things planned. A couple days at the casino, a night of drinking at one of our favorite bars around here, and a baseball game. So it should be I want to just kind of hang out and shoot the breeze for a while.
And anything special this week on either of the daily shows?
I'm working. This is my second week of the betting the 3-point Molly. So Ed was giving me shit about it, but I'm doing the 3-point Molly this week and all month long. And yes, I play the same strategy against the same rolls for 20 straight days. And there's lots of reasons why I do that. One of them is to show you where the pitfalls are. You can't see the pitfalls in the perfect strategy unless you play it against 1,000 rolls, at least. So I play it for 20 straight days, and we try and beat the crap out of these things, and we find where the holes are and if we win or not. So I'm doing that all week. A little bit of a change in rhythm to that strategy. And the morning, the Coffee and Crap show is going to be simple. We're just going to make $50 a day. I got everybody that sent me their favorite ways to make $50 in a couple of rolls. I'm going to just put them on the table, and we'll show them all off. I'll give you all credit for. If you send me one, I will call your name out and we'll play it together. That's what's going to happen this week.
All right.
Just really fun. I don't want to go too much. I've been doing a lot of thinking the last couple of weeks, like really intense for me, like hours of show prep and math and all kind of shit with these, with going through the monster rolls and everything else. It's been a lot of work. So this week I just need to do some of this. I just want to chill and do some 2-roll strategies. So that's it.
All right. You failed to say that this was what you look forward to every 2 weeks. You failed to say.
Well, I didn't know I was done talking, but yes, I do love this show. I love this show. This is my favorite. I love because I don't have to think so much, right? Sometimes, the conversation gets heated and I have to think a little bit. But honestly, this is a pretty low key, like I don't have to prep. Like my day shows I prep, it's a lot of work. This is just fun. I love doing this every week,
Yeah,
And
I start
and
the show 2.5 hours before it goes live.
there's so much goes into it. But honestly, as a participant in the show, it's just fun. I mean, I just like, I don't care if we all disagree on everything. It doesn't matter to me, as long as it doesn't get ugly, right? I don't care about disagreeing, because in the disagreements, there is a Venn diagram, and there's always going to be some crossover where the magic is. And we always find the magic somewhere in all these discussions that we have. And as long as somebody can pull that out, separate the fly shit from the pepper, it was a good show. And I think that was what it was all about. So, yeah, there it is. I'm done. Yep.
All right, so let's go to Gargoyle. It looks like you've got a fan base in chat today. They want to know about your channel. What are your thoughts on today's show? This is your second time being here. You were a huge asset to tonight's show. I think it gives a perspective that we don't always get to see on the channel. But you've got a fan base in the chat that wants to know where your channel is.
Yeah, there's no channel, and unless I said something about somebody's mama, no, I don't give an apology. No, it's good conversations. I mean, there are many sides to everything, and it's good that people can talk and converse without it being going out of control and gets insulting, infuriating, and stuff like that. People argue about nobody. Everybody's different. Nobody is the same. Which this is what makes us unique individuals. But we can talk about things and let others make their own mind on what they want to do. That's the beauty of things. We're not here to try and pressure somebody to do something. We're here to give experiences, our opinions, what we believe in. As individuals, right? What I believe in maybe not what Ed believes in, but it's up to others to say, okay, I like what Gargoyle said. I like what Ed said about this. I like what Alfredo said about that. I'm going to take the good, put it together, and maybe I get something good. That's why I came back for another video, and I hope you let me come back again. And let me know when you don't want me to come back if your fan base starts to go down.
No.
No, I mean these are good conversations, and I'll always say things based on my own experience, but my own experiences may be different than others, and what worked for me may not work for others. But if anybody needs help with anything, at some point there's something that could help them. Whether it's me, Ed, Alfredo, Obey, Leon, somebody here will have something for a person to help them with whatever they're trying to do at the craps table.
All right, so Ed, got to go over to you next. Tonight's show and any final comments that you may have. He's looking down.
Well, I was just bowing my head in prayer real quick. A couple of things real quick. I appreciate the show. I'm generally the asshole on the show. I accept that. I'm the hard-headed one. I understand that. But I like everybody. I mean, I really do. I'll call you out. But, I mean, I appreciate everything. You mentioned Sideshow Gamble there for a minute ago. Sideshow is overseas. Serving our country, and my prayers are with him. I was very late getting on to my own premiere tonight, later than normal, because one of my sons came by and he's talked about his future deployment. He's being deployed next year. He's already got his order. So I understand that, and I appreciate all the people who serve our country, especially those that are in the military and will put themselves in harm's way just so that we can all wake up and breathe fresh air in the mornings. That's really the more important thing. We can all disagree about how to play craps. Craps is a game. It's a game that a casino has an edge on. And so, we can all agree or disagree on how we want to play it. That doesn't really matter. The real things that matter that are important are family, our faith, our love for our family and all the people around us, and our love for each other as a community, if you want to call it that. Those are the things that are important as far as I'm concerned. So that's really all I got to say.
All right. Well, thanks for coming back today. We're going to go over to Craig at Old Bay. What say you?
What say me? First, I want to thank you, Jeff, and Dylan for having this forum. It's one of the best things out there. And the reason I keep coming back, because I just love being on and I love being with you guys. John, I want to thank you for doing your thing with the Google Drive for the Churro videos. It was a very hard video to make, the one I made, but I'm glad I got it to you in time. If people haven't done one or are thinking about doing one, just turn the camera on and say how you feel. It's all good. It's going to go to Crystal, and I'm not going to be able to go to the celebration. I'm actually going to call Crystal and talk to her about it. But I actually would like to use the video. I'll get her permission to do it. But I'd like to use the video I made as part of a little bit bigger video that'll show some highlights of a video I want to put out in my tribute to Churro. I thought it was a great debate tonight. A lot of heated stuff, but that's okay. We're just that passionate about this game, and that's awesome. Last thing I want to say is I know tomorrow is tough for a lot of people.
Stole my thunder.
I actually have a sister-in-law whose birthday is tomorrow, which makes it hard to say happy birthday. But for all those that were affected by 9/11, prayers to you all, and I'll be thinking about you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. Let's
Never
go over to
forget.
Corey. Yep. Corey.
Never forget.
Yeah, I look forward to getting yelled at by Ed sometime live in Biloxi. So, I've only come on this show a couple of times. I have enjoyed the debates, the discussions, the different perspectives. I do play a lot live. Which is why if I'm going to play that much, I want to put in the time to practice and get better at the craft. But looking forward to meeting some new friends later this week when I go visit at the Pacific Northwest Meetup. Enjoyed meeting some new friends last week at the Chicago Meetup. And even more at the Craps for the Cure. I'll be there the whole week for that, and look forward to meeting as many of you as possible live and future endeavors as well. So,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alfredo, you're next up.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone. I thought there was some great discussion. Obviously, got a little heated throughout the conversation, but I think that's good. We continue to see more and more meetups, right? We have the Pacific Northwest, we have the Craps for the Cure coming up, Big AZ's in October as well. There's a lot more regional stuff. We had Ed do the thing over in Biloxi. We just had the Chicago meetup. AC, you guys have been sort of putting it down there as well. And so the community is continuing to grow. You see people of all different skill levels within their craps journey. As Joe might say, come along the journey with me. It was a pleasure being out there with everybody, and I look forward to always just trying to help and share my own journey of what I've had with others. It might help someone. For others, where maybe it's not necessarily a style of play or something that you feel helps you. I'm sure there's others within this community that can give you that whatever it is that you're looking for. But I'm even open to new sides. I mean, look at Corey sort of leaning in and showing me how the hybrid could work. And I know that you've done that for quite a bit of time, Jeff, and I just never seen how it could win. And I actually played it, had a good time playing it. It actually put me in the good mood that led to a good roll. And you just never know, right? You just hope to be at the table when a good roll happens, whether it's yours or someone else's. When it's yours, you just try to stay locked in. So Thank you, and a great show.
Yep, thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. The hybrid, what I always say, it maintains my bankroll as I wait for something to happen. But Alfredo, last week, that didn't even happen. I got sniped off, as Brian would say, so many times that it was bad. It was bad. All right, guys, this is going to wrap it up. If you'd like to come on to an after show, I see there's a couple people here that are waiting. I wasn't going to do an after show. I can't stay. I'll set it up for you guys at May. I know that another YouTuber just started a premiere video just a few minutes ago, so there's something else going on. But I do want to say, Craig kind of hinted on it. For those of you that know about my profession, what I did, and where I was on 9/11, tomorrow is a very sentimental and important day for me. I actually lost a couple people that day in the towers that were friends of mine. If you know anything about what I did in my previous life, then you know, before I retired, then you know that's there. So to all those that are serving out there, whether it be in the blue, the red, or any of the armed services, we say thank you for your service. And as Craig said, never forget tomorrow, guys. Before Dylan didn't ask me, I have to real quick go and take a look at the calendar here. I do believe it's 2 weeks from today. Yes, we're back on the 24th. Today's the 10th. Yeah, I said the 23rd for some reason. We're back on the 24th of September for the next edition of Craps Chat. If you would like to come over, I'll start an after show. I don't know that how much it's going to go, but everybody that is here, Dylan, I do need to kind of talk to you 1 second offline, so you might have to jump off and jump back in. But for everybody that came on today, for Chris Dice Stations just left, Gargoyle, Ed, Corey, Alfredo, Leon. I was going to go to you, Leon, but you wouldn't turn your video on. You said you're going to be back, and I haven't seen you come back yet, so hopefully you'll be here for the after show. Is anybody there? And Craig, my fellow Marylander to the north of me, thank you for coming on. John, I haven't talked to you in almost a month. We texted a couple times over the past week. I missed you. I don't know what more to say, but I'm not going to get a room like you and Ed. You and Ed needed to get a room a while ago. I'm not going to do that. And to my friend Dylan, who's under the weather and held through for this 3 hours, we just pushed over 3 hours. You know, God bless each and every one of you. And as we have just rolled over, didn't even realize that we are into September 11th. 2023, and it's hard to believe that it's been that many years ago. To everybody that is here, everybody that has served, I thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Till then, guys, if you're on the after show, you want to join, hit the Zoom button. I'll let you in. We'll see you on the next one. As always, be safe and play smart.